Alright, before the video actually begins, I want to tell you guys that I did have some audio issues because Cody and I are sharing the same mic. I can't adjust the levels for one or the other specifically. I just have to do my best to edit what's there. So if it doesn't sound amazing, I'm very sorry. Hopefully we can get that fixed next time, and hopefully next time we'll end up using 2 mics. But without further delay, enjoy this episode of The Mix. Alright everyone, hello, my name is Sen.
We're recording that whole time? Sorry, we'll start over.
What's good, everyone? My name is Sen, and welcome back to The Mix. It is... Man, this is weird. I'm looking at you, you're looking at me.
I know, it's very intimate, very close.
So let's crack them and stack them, shall we?
Yeah, dude.
Cheers.
Cheers, bro. How you been?
Not too bad. How about yourself?
A lot better now that we're out of work, dude.
Yeah, so as I was saying, welcome everyone to the next episode of The Mix. Is a podcast I run where I look my co-host directly into his beautiful blue eyes, and no, this is quite strange. This is actually the first in-person podcast, and it's very weird talking to you and looking at you.
I mean, we pretty much do this every day, except the dog's not involved at work. Actually, we work with the dog. He's actually my manager.
Yeah, my manager's the dog.
Yeah. No, dude, but yeah, I mean, it's pretty much what we do every day at lunch, right?
Yeah, this is
bullshit.
This is the podcast where we talk about whatever, whenever, and returning guest of mine, Mr. Cody Polacek.
Thank you for having me once again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Feels like I just talked to you the other day.
Weird, or like every day that we're at work together.
That's true.
Yeah, I wanted to bring you back and have you back on, and we kind of both agreed that we wanted to do this in person because, well, for one, it's fucking sick. It's a different dynamic that it's bringing to the table. But how about you do myself and yourself a favor by shouting out, the usual, any places that people can find you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, Cody_Polacek, Polacek. I also have a SoundCloud under the same name. I also have a band called 191, which is spelt out 191, not the actual numbers. And I also have a Twitch account, which is Codemeister P, CODEMEISTERP.
That dog, okay, for the people that don't know, this dog was actually like 2 minutes ago just growling at you.
Oh, he was not a fan. I swear to God, this dog did not like me. And he was just like, I don't know about this guy.
Yeah, I gave Cody a treat to kind of goad him into being friends, and now they're the best.
I think we're beyond friends.
I think it's your dog now.
I think we're lovers now. Me and the dog are just like one and the same now.
Colton and Cody sitting in a tree.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
he's a good boy.
I definitely wanted to bring you on because last time we kind of both agreed that we didn't hit on everything that we wanted to. Like, we kind of touched and glanced, like a cursory glance over everything that we wanted to talk about, but we didn't nearly go into as much depth as you normally would. Like,
absolutely.
You guys really don't understand that I talked to this guy extensively about whatever, whenever.
It's true.
And
it's true.
It just kind of flies off the cuff.
It's true. I actually have one thing I want to bring up just right off the bat.
Yeah.
The Matrix Awakens, dude. Just because I'm like on this huge hype train right now for the Matrix. Like, I'm so fucking hyped. And so I think did we talk about it a little bit last time? The game? Basically, it was the idea. I thought it was going to be a VR game possibly.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out it's not. I thought it was, but they dropped a gameplay trailer last night, and it was like a huge meta thing with like Keanu Reeves talking directly to the audience, saying like, 20 years ago I was, Mr. Anderson or whatever. And
yeah, totally.
Like, and then he was like, I'm Keanu Reeves, and he was like talking to himself. It was just this weird meta thing. Then there was this chase sequence where Colt was chasing me down because he won't leave me alone, and then, no, I'm just kidding.
Hi, Bobby.
He's a good boy. No, it was a huge chase sequence, and it was Trinity and Neo, both original voice actors, and, he's a fucking weird cat.
Dude, Colt.
Hi, buddy.
No, he's like the sweetest dumb dog.
I think he wants to be involved in the podcast. What do you got to say?
Life's a little rough right now.
Here, speaking to the mic.
Bark, bark, bark.
He's like, I'm shy.
Hey, Bob.
No, so,
are you gonna be my dog again?
It showed like a little, like, trailer, right? Of just like the sequence where they're being chased down by agents. There was a new character that wasn't involved with any of the movies, even the new one. It looked like a brand new character. And then it was just the rest of the thing, from what I gathered, was just a sequence of showing off this new technology of Unreal Engine 5. I don't know if it's, from what it seems like it's available to play as like a tech demo right now. Like you can download and play it. But it was just basically showing off the capabilities of Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We have a very big baby.
It's all good. It's all good.
Sit. Good.
So I think it's just a giant like tech demo. Mm-hmm. I would love to see if they actually
Don't get handsy with me, sir. You're getting hair everywhere.
I'd love to see if they do an actual like game with like a plot and everything. It didn't look like that's what it was. It looked like it was just a tech demo. But yeah,
it'd be awesome if you could.
It looked amazing.
Could like lay down. All right, Colt. I'm gonna have to cast you aside. Oh, lay down, pups. Hey, sit. Lay down, please. Lay down. You putting the foot out there? This is gonna get cut out.
It's fine.
But so I'm very curious as to what kind of storyline this game is gonna follow. Like, is it gonna go through the whole trilogy and now the movie that's coming out? Like,
I was kind of touching on. I don't know if it's a tech demo or if it's
proof of concept, kind of.
To me, it seemed like it was just more of like, I don't know why it had to be involved with the Matrix if it was just showing off Unreal Engine 5, you know? Like, because that's what it seemed like it was doing. It was just showing off the capabilities of this engine.
Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to cease and desist. He's just all up in your chicken McNuggets.
I know. He's like, is that a McMuffin I smell in there? We had McMuffins earlier. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this is going to have its own plot line or if it's just a tech demo. It seemed like from the demo that it was just a tech demo. Like,
okay.
But I don't know.
Yeah,
I would love for Matrix.
I'll definitely have to check it out and see what's what on it because obviously we're both huge fans of the Matrix.
Huge fans of it.
Especially the first one in particular. I already said before, but I would love to go back for the second and third ones as well, just because I'm not as familiar and I feel like it'd help me gear up more towards
Absolutely.
the oncoming movie. Absolutely. And then, have you watched the Animatrix?
Yes.
Yeah, I have a very vague memory of the Animatrix.
The Animatrix is pretty good.
Sir.
Think of like
What Ifs?
Yeah, or like Twilight Zone, or even something like Love, Death, Robots, which is a TV show on Netflix. In case anyone knows what that is, it's basically think of or Black Mirror. Where each episode is its own plot line.
Yeah,
it tells its own story within that universe.
I recall it very slightly. I watched it way back when I was still quite young. I mean, honestly, you could really catch me with anything and everything, all things Matrix, like from YouTube channels, games, whatever. I'm a sucker for it just because It feels like my whole life has been brought up in like circling around the Matrix, and it was like the OG film that got everyone thinking, is like, maybe life isn't life.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then
I'm same boat. Yeah.
With the whole what was the other movie with that did that for people? Came out in like 2012 or something like that. The fucking Spin It and
Inception.
Yeah, Inception. Thank you. With dude, I'm terrible at remembering.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yes, thank you.
Tom Hardy, Joseph.
Tom Hardy was in that?
Yeah, that was before he was Bane, and also it was Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
My ability to remember a cast is quite terrible.
I don't know why I'm able to remember it so well. I think it's because I recently saw it, and it's got that one girl, Ellen Page, who's also in it.
So
and Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
Yeah, he's in it too. And Colt. Colt is also does a cameo.
Colt's in everything.
No, Inception is a great film. I
haven't watched it in since.
So good. It's not preferably like my favorite Christopher Nolan film. I think my favorite Christopher Nolan film is actually,
I can only guess,
either The Dark Knight or
I would
Interstellar.
Have to.
Interstellar is great too. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Yeah, speaking of The Dark Knight, I love the first two movies in particular. We've kind of talked somewhat extensively about Batman and the Dark Knight movies. Obviously, everyone loves the Dark Knight because Heath Ledger's portrayal of the Joker is so amazing. But one of the things I think about that is very cool about the first film, Batman Begins, is how it kind of characterizes things with Bruce Wayne. Like, it's more than just, like, he comes out of the alleyway as Batman. Like, he doesn't immediately have, I am the Batman from that moment. Like, there are many instances of, like, you know, him honestly coming across as a bit naive. And, like, you know, he thinks he's more capable than he actually is just with wealth alone. And it's like, oh, no, I need to be a symbol to, like, fuck these guys up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's one of the only Batman iterations to really go into that much detail, especially from a movie standpoint. Like, most of the time it's parents dead, Batman.
Yeah.
There's never the in-between.
It's very just kind of like the typical comic book kind of. I guess it just goes into detail like the comic books would, like, well, I guess lack thereof detail, because the comic books just kind of like hit
Do that
beats
a little
here and
bit
there. Yeah,
as well.
so like that's kind of how like the Batman Forever, Batman Returns kind of like iterations, or even before that, where it's just like you got the basic gist of everything.
So let's start way back, because I everyone loves the first two movies at the very least. I know you are fond of.
Yeah, you're talking about the Tim Burton films.
I was talking about the third Nolan film, Batman Forever. No, Batman Rise.
The Dark Knight Rises.
Yes,
the one
Dark
with
Knight
Bane?
Rises.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I know. I don't particularly like the movie. I haven't watched it forever since it was actually out in theaters. Maybe like another watch is deserved. But yeah, let's actually start way back. What was your kind of first like infant stages with Batman? Was it comics? Was it like animated series,
ever?
movies? Yeah.
Ever? It was the animated series. Batman the animated series used to play when I was a kid on Cartoon Network.
That was your first exposure?
That was my first exposure to Batman, like who he was that show. So I have a lot of fond memories of it. Plus, they would. So obviously, it's a little bit before my time. The animated series came out early '90s. I was born '97, but they would do reruns of it on Toonami.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fucking bad. I don't know if anybody remembers Toonami, but Toonami was the coolest.
Honestly,
I know you do. We talked about it
it's
before.
It's surprising how many people remember Toonami, actually, in my opinion.
Really? You think it's like just kind of like a
Also,
niche?
I don't remember it airing on Toonami. And like I
remember
it on
reruns.
Boomerang.
It was. Well, how old were you when you saw it on Boomerang? Because I'm talking like 4 or 5 years old when I saw the animated series.
I mean, I might have seen it back then as well, but
Which would have been, is going to show my age, but I've already done that on the last podcast. But that would have been like 2002.
20 years ago,
Yeah, that would have been like
give or take.
Yeah, like 2002. So, but also they would play that as in, like they would play the entire animated series.
Sir, you're
That
rocking
way.
the boat right now.
He's just like Batman. I can talk about Batman all day.
Well, he's Ace, obviously.
Yeah.
He's my
You remember that show?
yeah.
The super dogs.
The dogs,
or whatever?
yeah, with the Superman joint and like the little kid or whatever.
Yeah, Ace. Yeah.
So
Oh yeah. Just to, I was
No, you're-
about to make
you're
a
good.
point. Sorry. That
no pause on the table, please.
The animated series was airing as a rerun all the way in its entirety because of Batman Beyond. Batman Beyond was around that time.
Oh,
so
Batman Beyond was
they would-
fucking sick.
If I remember correctly, they played animated series, like an episode of it, and then they would play the new episode of Batman Beyond to kind of like get people who had not seen the original. It's-
Do you have something to say on this topic? Cole, get down.
Come
Get down.
on, buddy.
Get down. Just relax, okay?
Okay, I'm gonna get closer so you can't.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna cut this in post. You come over here. Come over here. Get on the couch, please. Just relax, all right? See butt right there. Beautiful. Stay. Relax. Stay.
It's crazy how friendly he is with me now.
I know.
He was like the polar opposite.
Okay, dude, come on.
I mean, if we put him in another room, would he whine or yell?
Yeah, he's
He's a baby.
especially because like I was gone for part of the day, and now that I'm back, he's like, "Where are you going?"
Cole, come here. Lay down. Get up here. Lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Good boy.
Getting this dog to chill sometimes. Sometimes he's
Stay.
like super chill, like he'll just hang on the bed while I play video games. But
Yeah.
you know, there's times like this where he's like, "I'm gonna be all up in your grill."
He's a puppy, man.
Hey there.
He's a puppy. You know,
It's
like,
been
he's-
no, I know.
He's a puppy. But no, they used to go back and forth between animated series and Batman Beyond, so that was my exposure. So it was kind of a little bit of both.
Yeah, kind of same.
But I remember more of the animated series than I do of Beyond because 5-year-old me didn't understand the concept of
Actually,
Beyond.
flipped that for me. I remember
interesting.
Beyond like more.
I remember it, but I remember my image of Batman was more the animated series, so I was more attached to that as a kid because I'm like, oh, this is really Batman. And then when I'd see Batman Beyond, 5-year-old me would be like, I don't know who this, like, I don't understand what's the show's about or what's going on.
Yeah, there was a couple. I know there was a couple related to Static Shock where they had like crossovers of like Beyond and then OG animated series.
Yeah.
And then Static Shock with Bruce Wayne as Batman and then Tim Drake as well. Like I remember specifically one. Was it Tim Drake? It might have been Dick, but he's like, oh, where's Robin? He's like, oh, he's with the Titans, and I'm just like, nice, that's sick.
Yeah. Wait, that was animated series or?
That was Static Shock. That was in Static Shock.
Oh, its own TV show? Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, he had a couple crossover joints. He had a crossover with the Justice League as well.
I remember, I don't know if you remember the episode from the animated series, but it was like the last season, and it was Tim Drake, but it was like baby Tim Drake. Because, for those who don't know, the animated series basically just jumped over the entire plot line of Jason Todd because it was so dark at the time that they just acted like he didn't exist, which is why I remember watching it going, how come they don't even bring up Jason?
Yeah, where's Justin Timberlake?
Yeah, it literally went from Dick to Tim.
Yeah.
And then there was that period in season 4 where Tim meets Dick, and then Dick tells him his entire backstory of why he's Nightwing, why him and Batman, basically
kind of broke it off. Had a separation, divorce, I get you.
Which is crazy that they were willing to, because they showed the backstory of Dick as well. Like they showed his entire plot line of him being his parents in the circus act.
Yeah.
They died. And then Batman, Bruce adopted him. So it's not that they're not willing to touch on dark subject.
It's just that particular dark subject.
I guess the idea of like they don't want kids seeing Robin literally die. I mean,
so
it was pretty.
Yeah,
cool.
and it was fucked up because it was like actually voted on.
What do you mean?
Do you know that whether Jason Todd lives or dies? It was voted on in a comic.
No way.
Yeah.
I did not know that. So everyone thought. That's interesting because it actually adds so much more depth to the overarching story of Batman, I think.
Yeah, and everyone voted for him to die. Or actually, I don't remember how divided it was. I think it might have been almost like 50-50. I could be totally wrong, but
that's very fascinating.
Yeah, it was left up to the audience.
Well, think of it this way. If he didn't die, I mean, would there be any sort of stakes within Batman's storyline again?
There would not be an Arkham Knight game.
That's true. But like, think of it overall. Like, there's got to be some sort of stakes. Like, Barbara getting paralyzed. That's some sort of stake. We realize that these people are not literally superheroes. They're people that are in suits that have a lot of money.
So,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, the darkest thing would have been Barbara at that point. Like,
yeah, she was paralyzed at that point and became. Yep.
Which, I mean, ties into Red Hood, and then Batman Under the Red Hood. That was a great movie. I heard you told me you watched that somewhat recently.
Yes.
I really enjoyed that. I particularly enjoyed the vocal work of the guy that plays Red Hood.
Yeah,
Jason.
Thought so too. Thought it was really well.
And I always remember the line. I don't remember word for word, but. Like Bruce is like essentially like asking for forgiveness, right? And they're like in the middle of the fight or like just about to like be in the fight. I don't exactly remember, but he's like, Bruce, I forgive you. But why the fuck is this guy still walking around? And just like his delivery was actually so good. Like I'm definitely a nerd for not just voice actors, but like voice acting as a whole.
I wish it was Kevin Conroy that played Batman.
I do too. I feel like he doesn't do a bad job.
No, I don't think it was bad. It's not like it was like, oh my god, I had to turn it off or anything like that. I could bear it. But
Batman is so Batman.
It's like whenever because there's a couple of those movies where Joker would be replaced by someone who wasn't Mark Hamill, and you're like, I can't.
There are some where it's not bad.
Like Killing Joke, I believe, was Mark Hamill. Right?
Did you? Yes, I believe so.
I think that was Mark Hamill.
Did you ever watch like the early to mid 2000s show The Batman?
Yeah.
I thought that was quite good. I enjoyed the Joker, even though he's like
it was good too.
Way different. I enjoyed the voice of the Batman. Like stylistically, it was so different from like everything else before.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it. Like I watched all the seasons. And I watched the movie with Dracula as well. I thought that was quite good.
Yeah. Batman's got so. That's the thing. Like I remember explaining to somebody. They're like, "What is it about Batman that intrigues you so much?" Because I forget exactly who it was that I was talking to about this, but they were basically saying like the reason I don't like Batman, not me, but they were saying I don't like Batman is because they're like, I feel like Batman as a character is just this dark, brooding person, and there's not a lot of depth to him. And I never really realized this. This is why I love talking to people that disagree, is because then I start to realize more about why.
Yeah, let me wonder.
Yeah, so then I sit there, and I remember the thing I came to realize, I was like, the thing that makes Batman so compelling as a superhero is not necessarily him on his own, but what each of those villains bring out of Bruce. Right?
Yeah, so
like it makes Batman more of a, like, if it was just Batman beating up bad guys, it would be boring. But if you had villains like Mr. Freeze, Riddler, Joker, they all bring out different aspects of Bruce. Does that make sense? Like compassion, detective, the more cynical side. If I'm breaking up by Mr. Freeze, Riddler, and Joker, does that make sense?
Yeah.
And me realizing that, I was like, yeah, it's like the villains, even Catwoman. It's like it's all these villains or even anti-heroes are like, what if Bruce was like that?
So
which makes it compelling for him because he can relate to every one of them.
I would say in particular, obviously the best comparison is Joker. Like, you can take it from the Dark Knight films, you can take it from the Arkham games. It is definitely, like, it boils down to them having the same thoughts, but the choices they do in light of those thoughts.
Fascinating.
And yeah, like, one of the best things I heard about the Nolan movies in particular, the one with the Joker and the Dark Knight, is like they both wanted Harvey to be a symbol. The Joker and Batman wanted Harvey to be a symbol. They wanted different things, obviously, but they were kind of along the same parallel. They're like riding almost the same tracks to get there. And pretty much it wound up to be summarized as just like, how did they end up the way that they ended up is because like Gotham made them this way.
Right.
I'm definitely very excited for this movie.
Yeah, me too.
Because one, I'm a big fan of the Riddler. Like, I love seeing the Riddler. Like, I watched a bit of Gotham. I like the guy that played the Riddler in that show. Like, he's like almost exactly what you'd expect. Like, I love, like, dating back to the old school films, like, I love Jim Carrey as the Riddler. Like, he's so wacky and out there, but he's not the perfect Riddler.
He plays it in an eccentric way. I feel like, honestly, he would have done a better job as the Joker. Honestly.
So what I heard, it was like the guy that plays Two-Face. Like, I'm so bad with names.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. I don't worry, I got us. So the IMDb list of people.
So Tommy Lee, the problem with him being Two-Face, it's not the problem he was Two-Face. It's because Jim Carrey was the Riddler in that movie. So out of what I heard, there was like a constant one-upping going on. So that's why Two-Face is so wacky, so left field.
I was gonna say, just I love what they did with Two-Face.
There was that constant.
That makes sense, though. That makes sense. But I love what they did with Two-Face in The Dark Knight, where he was not wacky. It was more like political.
Yeah, they definitely hit up that district attorney.
And it was about political image and what it means to, I guess, just what your image means to the people of Gotham, and how that's important for people to look at you in a light like that in order for them to have hope. So, like, that was the whole idea of The Dark Knight, right? Was that where they're preserving his image by putting the blame solely on Batman. Such a powerful message, you know?
From the way it's been portrayed to me is, so looking at Batman is like, the process of Bruce becoming Batman is realizing that at this point in time, no person in Gotham can make a difference. So it has to be a symbol. It has to be something uncorruptible.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, fast forward to The Dark Knight, he wants to show that a person, a face, can come out of Gotham and be the White Knight that they deserve. Joker wants to corrupt that image.
Yeah. And show that anybody can be broken down to their level. To his level, Joker's level.
and
fucking compelling.
Dude, I'm telling you, those first two movies are where it's at. Like, I don't draw those same things from the third movie. Like, I'm not sure. Like, I definitely need to revisit it because it's been so long. It's been since it's been released.
Thoughts of why I like The Dark Knight Rises, but I understand like your initial thoughts into it. And I'm not saying The Dark Knight Rises is a perfect film. I personally love it. I think it's great. I think the themes of The Dark Knight Rises aren't as strong as The Dark Knight, but what is there is really good. And I like the idea that I think Bruce's strength is his ability to just outbeat anybody by pure strength before, and now he has an opponent that is literally physically stronger than him and outwits him in every aspect that he's been known to outwit other people. Like, the darkness is your ally thing. Yeah, I know it's ridiculous.
No, I like it.
When you really think about it, like, that was how he was planning on winning that fight in the sewer. And, like, that's the oh shit moment where you're like, this guy literally can see you in the darkness and just fucking break you in 2 seconds. Love that. Also love the idea that Batman is gone for so long because Bruce is such a broken man at this point. And the redemption story of him, so no pun intended, rising back to being the hero that he needs to be. So this is a really good ending.
The same thing you can pull from Rises is the same thing that you can pull from Arkham Knight, where it's just like this, like, did I make a strong enough symbol that if I were to leave, would that be enough of a deterrent and enough to have someone supersede me to come out of the go ahead, please.
I just wanted to say that you're exactly right, but the only difference between the themes of those, where Bruce kind of blames himself and then has this redemption arc of coming back and being the hero that Gotham needs again, is that one was about the death of the Joker, right? In Arkham City, spoiler alert, that was like 10 years, 12 years ago now, but the huge deal when that happened.
Totally.
The Joker dying was a huge plot twist I did not expect, and it wasn't even necessarily Bruce's fault, but he still blames himself, right? I think it's more compelling in the film aspect of his redemption just because of who was the one that died in the film prior, which it was Harvey Dent, which Bruce, on a personal level, believed in Harvey so much.
Okay, get down.
He believed that he would be the White Knight that everyone needed. And he even believed that his love interest, Rachel, belonged with him, that he could provide a better life for her than he could. You know what I mean? Even though there's some debate in that, like, he was like, she was going to go with me, Alfred, and Alfred didn't give him the letter to break his heart more, kind of thing, you know? But, like, ultimately, he was okay with her being with Harvey because Harvey was the guy that he felt like Gotham really needed, you know? Yeah. So that's what makes it more tragic, and that's why he felt like the best thing he could possibly do is take the burden and the blame for all the crimes that Harvey did towards the end of his life.
There's a famous line, too, like, you know, I'm not the hero they need, I'm the hero they deserve.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, Gotham really is characterized in those movies in particular as like this cesspool. Like,
dude, just that whole ending sequence gives me chill. It's like the Matrix in that sense. That's why The Dark Knight's up there. Almost every damn scene in that movie is iconic as fuck.
Absolutely.
The Dark Knight particularly, like.
What's the difference between me and you? I'm not wearing hockey pads.
Yeah.
So great. I have.
Let her go. Poor choice of words.
That is a very poor choice of words.
Harvey Dent, you know him? No. Just walking around. No, I think that's really compelling about his character that I thought was. I've always been fascinated with it. I think now that I'm older, it makes me I understand it a little more, and that's the fact that he kept always changing his fucking story of how he got his scars. You notice that?
Yeah. So
you never really know what his true backstory is, because what was the first time he said? He said his dad gave him the scars, right?
Yes, and then
the
his
second
wife.
time it was his wife.
So.
And then he did it to himself or something like that.
And this is just one of those like abstract esoteric answers where it's just like the real reason he got his scars is from being and living in Gotham.
I think the point of him changing his story is to show the audience that he's a pathological liar. That there's nothing he's so mysterious in that way. I love that though. If I would have just gotten a flat, like, straight up story of his backstory, I would have been
a little disappointed.
I would have been like, all right, but the fact that he kept changing it makes me like go like it makes it more interesting. You know what I mean? As a person, you try to
and it makes you
peel
wonder
back
too. Yeah.
the layers of his character, and you can't because he's just so complex.
He's giving you nothing.
And I feel like that was honestly all Heath Ledger's doing as far as his performance in delivering that. That's why he got that Oscar. I mean, he fucking kills it as the Joker. Dude.
The only thing you can really gather, which is just speculation, but it makes so much sense, is that like he was an ex-soldier. Like when he is in line with all the rest of the soldiers, like when Gordon or whatever is going to give his speech, I vaguely
know
remember.
what you're talking about.
And he's doing everything in line with everyone else perfectly, like it's because he knows it by heart.
I never even thought of that. That's really interesting, though.
Yeah,
That's really interesting.
I used to like.
Did you see Joker, the movie?
I did, yeah. I loved it.
You liked it, the Joaquin Phoenix one?
Absolutely.
I saw that shit in theaters. And
Same here.
I remember literally my jaw was to the floor at that ending scene.
I thought it was incredible. Like
I've never been like on the edge of my seat, heart pumping like I had with that scene at the end when he's on the TV show.
You got what you fucking deserve.
Yeah, well, just his whole speech and the whole tension build, and then once you realize what's about to happen, you're like, fuck, like, you know what I mean? It's just so, and it felt really real. That's what's scary.
One of the things I talked about in with a friend, maybe even on a previous podcast, is I really,
you, by the way.
Yeah, it's very good. Having a great time. One of the things I talked about was actually the Joker trailer. I paid for some reason a lot of attention to the music, like the scoring of the trailer. Like it came across as this like almost like a romance. Mm-hmm. Like there was some like romanticization of insanity, and that movie obviously it became a bit of a sensitive topic because like it deals with mental health. That is something like so touchy.
Yeah,
and like
it's more of a character study film than a superhero film.
And man, I thought it was fucking great. Like
it was great
just his health, his condition, like definitely emphasis on his condition, and
absolutely earned the Oscar. I think Joaquin Phoenix killed it.
Yeah, I couldn't have asked for a better zoomed in lens of the Joker in like such a different and unique way.
So this is the thing I've talked to people about before too. Do you think that Joker needs a Batman? Do you know what I mean by that? Like, or do you think he stands alone? So, like, I feel like that if you put a Batman to that Joker, it almost diminishes the film Joker. You know what I mean? Because then it becomes, haha, Batman, like, but you think you're so smart?
I sucked your dick, Batman. No, so...
oh, put him on here. Like, you know what I mean? And then it takes away from the character and the meaning of Joker as a film.
So I think it has to be about Batman for Joker to need Batman, but if it's about Joker, I think it's a very different case. I think whether the story calls for Batman is very up in the air, whether... I would say the Joker is looking for Batman. I
loved everything that involved Joker and Bruce in that film. I loved the idea that Bruce was still a kid when Joker and him first meet. I like that a lot. I know that's not technically how it goes. I just like that spin on it though. And that realization of like, you know, Joker trying to make Bruce laugh. It really adds so much. It's kind of like how we were talking about on the last podcast with Magneto and
the dichotomy between
just the dynamic between the two characters. So seeing that like Bruce was laughing because of what, you know, Joker was doing is just fascinating. And then how it turns out, spoiler alert, with the people that believed in Joker's message, one guy walked out, fucking killed both his parents. Like, all because of the thing that Joker was doing, just trying to stand up for himself and those type of people that are always being pushed down, which you understand completely, makes him a compelling bad guy, but for all the wrong reasons. Riots happen, the car gets smashed, they pull him out, he uses his blood to make his smile, and it's just like a really dark, I don't even know, like it's like a uplifting ending, but in a dark, dark way, and it's just such a different take.
like, even if the scoring in the actual movie, the soundtrack in the actual movie doesn't kind of reflect this, I still believe, like, the film may hold some merit to the idea of romanticization of insanity. Just, you know, with what we talked about of how the movie, like, it felt uplifting, right? It felt like it was a good ending. It felt like the ending that you wanted, but ultimately it was bad.
Yeah.
And
It leaves you conflicted.
I would love for you to actually look at the trailer. Like, I'll send you the
It's been a
trailer
while
later.
since I've seen it.
But yeah,
watching it.
like, really pay attention to the music, because it sounds both mysterious, but like it feels like when the music lifts up, it feels like two people should be like kissing or whatever.
I like that Hollywood has been, at least with obscure kind of character, not necessarily obscure, but just not like your main MCU DC characters that, like Logan, for example, felt like another film, kind of in the same vein as Joker, where it's like a character study film, where it's really dark and brooding, but it grounds this character to where it you know it's a superhero film, but it feels more than that. Like, Logan felt like a superhero version of the first Last of Us for me.
So,
Does that make sense?
yes. So kind of looking at Logan, you could honestly make the argument that the Mutant Registration Act would have been a good thing in that case, because, you know, Xavier dealing with old people problems.
It's true.
It's just like, you know, if he was registered, you know, not as many people would have had to die. Like, he wouldn't have lost his.
How so? I'm curious now. What
So-
makes you think that?
If he was registered and his powers were registered, you could think of it as they could figure out some sort of deterrent to kind of prevent this from happening in his old age.
How would they know that it would be something like? That's the thing, is like, would they be able to prevent it when there's no one else in the world with that ability besides maybe Jean, who's younger than him?
So they could work on a study, you know, they could, you know,
I see what you're. I know it's all
superhero
hypothetical.
research, right?
No, I know.
No.
It's all hypothetical, but I'm
no,
just curious.
I like the
Yeah.
inquisitiveness. But, you know, just with that knowledge alone, they could have put him on, like, a list or whatever of, like, you know, he's getting
If they
up in
did
his
more
age, like,
research on
maybe
him.
sedate him.
Yeah. They'd have more research in their back pocket.
It's just like Happy Gilmore, you know, like,
Well, then here's.
Grandpa's gonna go night-night.
I will put you to sleep. You will go to sleep, or I will put you to sleep. Fucking Ben Stiller. No, so here's another. So you've seen Civil War.
Once.
Do you know the premise of it in the comic
Yeah,
book
Iron
story?
Man versus Batman, like the.
You mean Captain America?
Or yeah. We've been talking so much about that.
Fucking Batman.
I'm just more rich, smarter you.
So,
Shield around the world, like.
well, it's kind of the same thing. Should the superheroes register themselves under the UN and be completely under their control, meaning they can't go do any sort of missions that they want to?
Aren't
Like the Avengers
sanctioned.
we have to get approval from somebody.
Yeah.
Before we go out there, we have to take orders. And Captain America's like, no, fuck that. We go by our own accord and we decide what's right. And Iron Man's like, who are we to decide what's right and what's wrong? Which side do you align with?
Which
Iron
side
Man
do
or
I?
Captain America? Because from what you're saying with the mutant registration, it seems like you'd be more with Iron Man, that they should register with the UN.
No, I was just saying there was an argument for it.
No, I was just... yeah. What do you think?
I want to say no. I want to say
No to what?
there does not need to be like a form of registration.
That they should go by their own accord?
It kind of, while there leaves a lot of room for error, there is something about, you know, the moments of acting, like the moments it takes to act, like I really need like approval to save this person, and you know, a lot of it's impulsive, like a lot of it's like heat of the moment, like no, I need to wait on the paperwork to come through to save your life.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe things get a little bit more muddied when it comes to that, like, oh, you have reasonable cause to save this person's life.
Mm-hmm.
But I think at the end of the day, they're people, and I think there should be the option.
You think there should be the option?
I think you should, like, if you want to seek a form of whatever you'd call this, employment, if you will, if you want to be deployed as a squad or fleet,
Okay.
then that's fine.
Okay.
You know, there should just be means to do so, but I don't think having these abilities, having these gifts, or having the means to make your own Iron Man suit. I don't think that should necessarily you need to be.
I understand the argument from both sides, because Tony's argument was, let's just go off the MCU's way of putting it, because the Civil War comics are vastly different than what the MCU ends up portraying it as. Still the same idea, though, which is why I love Civil War as a film. But Tony's idea was that in Avengers Age of Ultron, Sokovia was completely destroyed because Ultron had lifted the entire fucking country up, and then like millions of people died, even though the Avengers did everything they could to stop it. But Tony's argument was like, would that have happened if the government would have been able to step in? We wouldn't have taken all the blame for all those deaths and have to carry that weight. But then Captain America's argument would be, well, Ultron wouldn't have fucking existed in the first place
if it wasn't for you.
If it wasn't for you trying to shield the whole world and make it a government AI, which went rogue and did all this shit. I actually side with Captain America. I don't think they should register, because what happens if there's a situation where the government tells you no, for whatever reason? You're like, these people are being fucking murdered and, who knows what over here, just throwing a hypothetical. But the government's like, no, we're not going to let you go over there. We're actually going to send these guys over here and have that take care of it. But you're like, say I'm Captain America. I'm like, but I'm a guarantee that I can stop this from progressing and getting worse. I am a guarantee. You don't know that's going to they might die going out and trying to save these people. But you're going to tell me no? Like, see, I don't like the idea that I can't take my, and that's exactly what he says, what Steve Rogers says in the film. He's like, I don't like the idea that I'm not in control with my own decisions, Which is
a little funny because he was Army boy.
A soldier, yeah, for sure. But he's Captain America, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like his perspective now, being frozen for so long, and, he's like, we decide what we do. Which I actually agree with.
Yeah, I kind of come out on the same end. Like but ultimately, like, I don't feel either is right or wrong. Like, I would side with Cap, but I was just like, dude, if you want, like, to go with the government, but same breath, governments can be very corrupt.
But that's the other thing too, is that all the people that did decide to go with the government, the people that didn't, it's like, I think that right there automatically should make the people that signed with the government realize they made a mistake, because now the government's like, okay, all of you guys go fucking hunt them down. I mean, that's literally what happens in Civil War, and even like Ultimate Alliance 2, which is awesome. The whole premise of that game is Civil War.
Same thing, yeah.
And you can choose who you take with you and what side you choose, which is way cool.
That's tight.
But I mean, like, just like that, just like the comics, just like the film, it was just like, all right, I can either take you in or this is going to end poorly. And it's like, why do you even have to fucking fight me? I'm fighting for the right reasons. But it's like, just because the government told you have to come and get me, now we're fighting.
So what are you, this is going to veer off a little bit, but what are some of your favorite, like, storylines? What are, like, what that Spider-Man, Batman?
Civil War, I think, is a really good one as far as just, like, involving everybody. Just because, I mean, it's a little political, sure, but like it's political in like a comic booky sense.
But also, like,
and it's a moral kind of dilemma.
Yeah, why wouldn't it get political? Like, you have these entities, these people that are like so like large scale, like larger than life, heroes. Sure. That there's no way the government wouldn't get involved in some capacity. Yeah,
I love that storyline. A lot of controversy about the Spider-Man storyline with. I believe it was either Aunt May gets shot and killed or Mary Jane dies, and he goes and talks to, God damn it.
Fury?
No, not Fury.
Cap Stark?
No. Demon guy. Can't remember his name.
Damn.
You know who I'm talking about, right?
Yes, hold on, I got it.
I know, it's like I literally was just thinking about it the other day.
I keep wanting to say Mordo.
No, that's close though.
Morlun.
But something along those lines.
Dormammu?
Like, no, not Dormammu.
I think it's Morlun.
Oh my god. Anyways.
Doctor Strange?
The guy that disguises himself as Doctor Strange, but it's really...
I think it's Morlun.
You might be right. I don't know. Anyway, so it's that guy, and he asks him to basically, can you change everything that's happened, which is kind of what No Way Home is touching upon, which is kind of the theory that Doctor Strange really isn't Doctor Strange in that film, but I digress. But I like that plot line. A lot of people
I need my Toby. I need my Garfield.
I literally have it written on my calendar that it's called Spider-Man Toby Comes Home instead of No Way Home. I got so fucking hyped for No Way Home. And Toby's got to be.
I need to see a Tobey Maguire face in that.
I want
movie.
him to just show up and like no one knows it's him until he goes, "See a chump," and just fucking throws a bag of money at someone or something.
I legitimately need to see the face when he's stopping the train. Yeah, I need that in my life. There are no better faces out of a Spider-Man than a Tobey face, dude.
I know. So funny.
Like, oh, man, I need some
You think
goblin.
I'm some kind of criminal? Get Toby, dude.
No matter what you do, they'll come to hate you or something like
Something's
that.
different. I'll figure it out.
Oh man, it's like
So good.
big change.
Yep, big change.
Oh man, I think he's talking about his penis in that. Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Spider dick.
Probably, dude.
Yeah, man. Like those. Like
I love those Spider-Man films, by the way. Just kind of.
I don't feel as if I like Tom Holland, I really do. I like him as Spider-Man, really do. I'm not sure if he fully is Maguire in my head. Like he's like almost there, but I think it's just his stories aren't as compelling so far.
Yeah, so I just watched Homecoming and Far From Home.
Really?
I watched Far From Home, as a matter of fact, last night. And this is what I'll say. I think Tom Holland has the potential to be the best Spider-Man.
Agreed.
As far as out of all of them. Andrew Garfield and Tobey. But the problem is with the way the MCU is writing his character.
I feel like Homecoming was kind of weak.
No, I agree. I think Far From Home was the closest that we got to where I was like,
pretty good.
Damn close to getting what I wanted. It spends a little bit too much time trying to be a John Hughes, Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller's Day Off type of film. I feel like Homecoming and Far From Home are like, those 80s high school films. It really tries to be that, which I don't mind it doing that. My issue is that I hate the fact that Spider-Man feels like the back burner character to his own movie.
I was just going to actually touch upon that because, like, when you think of Tobey Maguire, and even Andrew Garfield in this case, you don't think of anything outside of them other than these movies.
Exactly. Exactly.
The fact that there is a greater Marvel Cinematic Universe kind of undermines Tom Holland's movies.
It's shitty to say because it's going to sound like I'm like diminishing Iron Man's character and his contribution to the MCU, but it doesn't. I think Iron Man is great and everything they did with him was perfect. His arc was perfect, I think, in the MCU, which awesome. Same with Captain America and with the way that ended in Endgame. Loved the way they did both those. However, it feels like it's diminishing Peter Parker as a character because everything is fucking related back to Iron Man. Everything is related to Tony entrusted you with this. Tony thought you could do this. Turns out you're not good enough to do that. And they do it in Far From Home too. And I'm like, didn't we just have the same exact fucking premise in Homecoming?
Yeah.
So what? He didn't learn anything?
Yeah,
Do you see what I'm saying? But then there's moments where I love what they did with Mysterio.
Yeah,
It's Mysterio you don't really know, but you know as a Spider-Man fan, if you're a hardcore fan like us, you're like, this is an illusion of some sort. You're like, there's something.
This is the fake out. Yeah. So
loved that.
I mean, it really is like thinking about the whole movie, like the Mysterio, like it is such a fake out. The whole movie is such a fake out, and that's great to characterize Mysterio because he's acting as a good guy. Like you think he's doing the right thing, and if you don't know anything about Spider-Man, then like the curtain will be over your eyes for a little while until you realize like, oh yeah, I've been baiting you this whole fucking time, and they could not have structured the webbing of the movie, like the skeleton of the movie, better to fit Mysterio.
I agree, and I think I could be wrong, but Quentin Beck has always been kind of like the Riddler-esque type character for Spider-Man, where it's like,
in a sense,
I'll outsmart you, kind of thing. Not necessarily like
it's
like,
not as overt.
Yeah, like it's just I like that they made Quentin Beck. Once again, I'm torn on Quentin Beck's character in Far From Home because once again, it has something to fucking do with Iron Man. Like his backstory is like Iron Man called my thing barf. So now I'm like, fuck you, Tony. Like, but then see that part I'm like, it's fucking dumb. But then I like the part where it's like, I actually like Peter as a person. I think Peter's a good kid, and it sucks that he's in the middle of this and that Tony entrusted this, because I don't want to have to fucking do this to him. Like, I like Peter. I like that because it makes it more of a compelling dynamic between Peter and Quentin. Because like I never got the sense that Quentin hated Peter or anything like that. I think he genuinely meant it when he was like, you're a good kid. You know, it's a shame that you have to be involved in something as serious as this at your age, but I like you. But it's just the way it has to be with the way I want to be. I want to take over Tony's industry, you know, with the Edith classes or whatever.
Yeah, I thought that...
I liked that, hated that it was fucking back to Tony, though. I was like, why is everything Iron Man, you know? I was just like, I'm like...
I feel like... other than the moment where Peter is suiting up, I feel like it like fails to characterize him as like intelligent and intelligible.
Who?
Peter.
Yeah.
And I feel the same problem with Miles in the Spider-Man game.
Yeah.
Peter's so fucking smart. It is ridiculous. Like, there is a reason he develops his own web shooters, like this, that, and the other. He is 100% like a scientist at the end of the day. And I feel like that just doesn't come across like as strongly.
I think that's like, I like the aspect that they're like, there's a reason why Tony likes him so much. There's a reason why Tony looks at him as his protege. Like, I get that. But you have done nothing in the films to show me why Tony would do that with Peter. There's nothing that really stands out in any of his own films or even Civil War. I'm talking about Spider-Man here. That makes me go like, holy shit, Peter's truly a genius. I mean, he's got moments where he's like, oh, he's a smart kid. But there's nothing that makes me go like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't see a scene where he makes his web shooters or anything like that. Like, I feel like...
You see a scene in Homecoming where he's making his webbing, but not his shooters.
Oh, that's right. With the chemicals in the high school.
So... And like, just talking about this now, I really would have loved a scene where Peter left like Tony speechless. Like, it could just be something as simple as like Tony's stuck on a formula and Peter's just like nonchalantly, oh, this, and this, and then he just like looks at him for a second.
That's good.
Like,
that would have been good. You're right.
Anything like that, failed to bring that home.
Yeah. You know what? Like, because that's the thing that they did well with the first Avengers in particular. Is that they made Tony and Bruce
tit for tat.
Yeah. So it was like the smart guys are now talking about smart shit,
and they're
really
just like brain horny for each other. Yeah.
If they had a scene like that, even in Infinity War, where the three of them talk,
so good.
And like you were saying, Peter has something, he just goes off, and both of them just kind of look at him like, holy shit. That would probably seal the deal for me too, of like being like, he's truly a genius. You know, they have a scene like that in Far From Home, where Peter shows up and they're like, Quentin's from a different dimension. He's like, my Earth's called Earth something, and he's like, a multiverse is real? So does that mean this and this and this? And he kind of goes on a tangent, right?
Okay.
And he makes Nick Fury go like, the fuck? And then Peter's like, sorry. And then Quentin says that thing. He's like, don't be sorry for being the smartest person in the room. I liked that. I liked that between the two of them. I wish it would have been Tony.
I like that too. Yeah, they just kind of like failed to send that message home a little bit. And
to me, that's them going, fuck, we should have done that. Let's make Quentin seem like he's just as smart as Tony by making this thing that Tony uses in this presentation but calls it fucking barf. Such a dumb, like, you do something cool and then you have to throw your MCU fucking bullshit in it by saying, like, he called it barf. Now I must destroy the world. And it's so stupid, dude. Like, I'm like, really? Like, are you like a 45-year-old man going, you called my life's work barf? And not like, I don't get that.
So, do you have like a favorite MCU film?
Oh, my favorite MCU film.
So in the proper Marvel Cinematic Universe, not Tobey Maguire, not Andrew Garfield. I see
what you're saying.
Is it Guardians of the Galaxy?
That's top 3 for sure.
Okay.
The first one, I think it's really good.
I actually try to get through the original Thor again.
It's bad.
Could not do it.
I didn't like the original Thor. I didn't like the Dark World. I loved Ragnarok.
I heard Ragnarok was quite good.
You haven't seen it?
No. But Sam and I are very slowly going through all the MCU films.
Nice. Yeah, Ragnarok's in my top 5. It's that good.
I've been very impressed with how well, because she gets antsy. Mm-hmm. So if she's getting like hype, she cannot sit down. She needs to stand up. She needs to walk around and be like, "Fuck yeah, fuck it up!" And I'm just like, right on. But some of the times we just have a very tough time choking down some of the older MCU films, like Iron Man, the original one, great. Captain America, great. Mm-hmm. Thor, not as compelling.
Didn't like Iron Man 2 either.
I thought it was okay.
I didn't hate it. I don't think there's any MCU film I hated. Like, I own all of them, and I don't think there's any of them that I hate. I really like Black Panther.
Iron Man, so for us, Iron Man 2, like, we thought Captain Marvel was okay, because we're watching in timeline-wise. So we watched Captain America first, Captain Marvel, Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
And I honestly forgot where I was going with this.
If I'm being honest with you, I don't like Captain Marvel. I like her character. I think she's really cool and compelling. I think Brie Larson was a miscast. I don't know. And that's just me personally. I know that's not a lot of people agree with me, but at least the way that she comes off, especially in Endgame, she was so shoehorned into that film and I feel like the sole purpose she's even in the fucking movie is so that Tony has some way of getting back to Earth because the ship runs out of fuel, right?
Yeah.
And she just magically shows up and
hey there, gamer.
Right, and like, just like, oh, I just was in the neighborhood.
She just
fucking Cosmos. Like,
she just rolls through, is like, get ready. It's double XP weekend.
Yeah, she's just like, I just happened to be in the solar system. Like, come the fuck on.
Are you Tony Stark 69420? Dude, get online. Let's go back there.
It's just, I don't know. And then I thought the Captain Marvel movie was okay. I didn't hate it. I didn't necessarily get the concept that it's been a while since I've seen it. I've only seen it once in theaters. But if I remember correctly, she gets her powers from an energy inside of a ship that blows up and gets into her.
Yes.
That is not how it happens in the comics.
Do you remember the OG X-Men animated series, 90s?
Absolutely, yeah.
Do you remember Rogue having the power to flight, mm-hmm. super strength? That is because she sucked the dick of Carol Danvers. No, okay. Minus the dick part.
I did not expect that, okay?
No, but that is because I believe Mystique set her up to it, like to actually take the powers from Carol Danvers. She's like, "Oh, Captain Marvel is a problem. You're gonna go take her down."
Yeah.
And she steals the powers of Captain Marvel, puts her in a coma, and now is juggling with like this multi-personality. Like, she doesn't know where she begins and Carol Danvers ends. She visits her in the hospital. That's why in the show she has super strength, she can fly, all that. It's because, yeah, she sucked Captain Marvel's dick.
I didn't know that, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's actually in the show.
That's interesting. I don't know. I think the way the MCU's done Captain Marvel, I don't like the direction. Like, and then like the fact that, which is going to be funny because you asked what my favorite MCU films are. It's actually
Captain Marvel.
No. No, it's actually Infinity War and Endgame.
Okay.
Infinity War over Endgame, but Infinity War and Endgame are my top two favorite.
Understandable. Those are like...
They're fantastic.
They're the biggest scale. I haven't watched Doctor Strange, but I heard it's amazing.
Doctor Strange is in my top 10.
I can't wait to get there because... Hey, can you stop chewing that?
Come on, buddy.
That's a baby toy. That is not your toy.
Doctor Strange, I recently watched that too. Great film.
Yeah, I feel like the reason I want to watch it is because, one, I hear it's fantastic, and two, I think Sam would really, really like it.
It's a very Matrix-esque type film.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is that you'll see, because obviously it's the introduction to his character. So I remember watching it in theaters. When they start doing the shit where the buildings start folding in on each other, like Inception.
Oh,
shit,
yeah.
And you go like, how the fuck is no one else affected by this? That's what I mean by it's a Matrix-esque film. And then once you realize Doctor Strange can do that shit too, it's like Neo learning about the very much so like the Matrix in a very good way.
Okay, you jogged something from my memory. How much would you love a moment in the new Matrix film where you get there is no spoon?
Oh.
That would be maybe he meets him when he's older now, but or something like that is jogged from his memory. But it's like, it's not the spoon that bends, It's actually you.
Yeah. I'd love it.
When you realize
Love it.
there
I'm
is no
pretty
spoon.
sure, by the way, that old chick from the trailer is Niobe.
Really?
Yes.
Okay,
Pretty sure.
I still haven't watched it again since.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I've seen it a bunch. I'm so hyped for the movie.
I mean,
My theory is, dude, I think the younger new guy that's playing Morpheus.
let me wiggle that.
No, you're good. You're good.
We've been going for an hour.
I could go longer.
Yeah.
Anyway, we barely touched on shit I want to talk about, so I think my theory, which I didn't really get to touch upon last time we talked
Please go.
about it, was
Spit that shit.
I think the younger Morpheus is
I
a.
hear it's his son.
I don't think it's his son. I think it's him, but I think that's how he's projecting himself in the Matrix. Think about it. We've seen Neo and Trinity outside of the Matrix. You haven't seen Morpheus outside of the Matrix in any of the trailers. I think Lawrence Fishburne is outside of the Matrix, but he's old as fuck. Because it's way in the future, and if that's Niobe, why would she be old as fuck? Because it's way in the future. So I think Morpheus is like so old. Like, remember Source Code? That movie with Jake Gyllenhaal?
I love that movie.
Remember how spoiler alert, you remember how you found out he's like half a fucking body inside the fucking chamber, and they just kept looping his head in order to stop this bomb from happening, but that happened to him in war, right?
Yeah.
But he doesn't realize it?
Something like that. They're preserving him.
What if that's what's happening with Morpheus, to where Morpheus cannot, his mind still works, but he's just like so fucking
Like
old.
catatonic almost.
Yeah. But like there's a moment where Neo sees Morpheus and it's Lawrence Fishburne outside of the Matrix, and that's Morpheus, but he projected himself as younger to make Neo recognize him. Because if he projected himself in the Matrix as old as he was, Neo would be like, I don't recognize him.
But isn't it like way younger? Like dramatically younger than...
I mean, I think the new guy that's playing him looks similar enough to Morpheus.
I'm gonna have to...
You could mistake it in
Yeah,
the distance.
I need to take another look for sure. But
Tell me, what do you think of that theory?
I think it's great. I would love to see something along those lines.
And that's the reveal at the end of the film. So you don't get that reveal until the very fucking end when Neo sees Lawrence Fishburne.
I mean,
I'm fucking calling it right now. If that shit happens, fucking timestamp this shit.
Note it.
Seriously, like.
I would love to... You're like very overexposed. I'm gonna have to edit this later.
Do you want me to turn this off?
You could try. Is there even a thing in there? I think it's from the window, actually. Not bad. I'll take that.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. So
we have to be in a cave to podcast, by the way,
okay.
because there's no light.
There is no spoon.
There is no cave. No, it's definitely a cool idea. I fuck with it heavily if they did something like that.
Would be really.
And
happy.
plus, I definitely appreciate the call to source code.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm a big fan of that movie. I like the movie quite a bit.
I'm not. It's not like I need a source code.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, I need a trilogy right now. I just like the idea, and that was my favorite part of the film, was having that reveal, and you're like, holy shit! Like, I love those moments that just twist your brain into a knot. Like,
So something beautiful that has kind of been brought up to my mind is looking at whether the twist makes the movie or if it's a good movie independent of the twist. So if the storyline is whole without the twist, like, it's likely to be a good movie regardless. But if you watch that movie after the first time, after the big reveal, after the twist is like, oh my god, and you watch it again and then you're pissed off at the movie, that's when the twist
I
is
got a perfect
poor.
example.
Lay it on me.
So, Spider-Man: Homecoming. I loved it the first time, because then when you found out Vulture was his girlfriend's dad, you're like, oh fuck. Great scene, by the way. I still think that scene's great.
I mean, Michael Keaton.
Is great. So that whole scene where Peter's like, holy shit, and then like when they're in the car and Michael Keaton realizes that Peter is Spider-Man because what his girlfriend's saying, and Peter's just going like, oh fuck, shut the fuck up, like stop talking. Like, it's literally what he's doing. He's like, cause she's like, yeah, he works for the Stark internship, and oh no, he was gone when Spider-Man came and rescued us.
It's just like
fucking cut it off. Like,
it's like it's just like, listen to her talk, don't mind her. This is about me and you. We're friends,
I would
right?
have been all like, I was in the elevator. She's like, no, you weren't. Like, yeah, I was in the elevator. I was in the fucking
I talked about too. I like the fact that they call back to Liz Allen, because that was his OG crush back in the comics or whatever.
It's true. But however, when you rewatch it, once that kind of like hype of that moment, you're like, you have to see it because there's this moment. It's a great moment. Not saying it's not, but the overall like film and like what it should be as a Spider-Man film, it's exactly like you say. You go back and watch it multiple times, and you're like,
this is stupid.
You're like, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man.
Tobey Maguire should have been in this role. I know he's like 45. So
fucking Mr. Dickovich.
I just imagine when he's like in the car and like there's that moment. It's like, oh yeah, you weren't in the elevator. It's like the Call of Duty, like you're sniping, you're holding your breath.
Yeah, that's literally what happened. Yeah.
No, I love that we're so all over the place. But back to Matrix.
Yeah.
I mean, we've kind of come full circle on the Matrix. We
I
started
was
with
just
Matrix.
making that reference back to Spider-Man
For sure.
because I feel like that film talks about what you're talking about with the plot twist and we were talking about
everything else under the sun.
Yeah.
Is there like any projects that you're working on currently? Like,
just in general?
Is like anything like left field that you just kind of, I know you're doing 191, Poolside Manor, all that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is there anything outside of the music realm that you're working on too? Maybe you're becoming a cinematographer. Maybe
I
you're.
would fucking love to. No, but I mean, I've been Twitch streaming more lately, which is cool.
Awesome. So okay.
Golfing.
Yeah. We actually, if you didn't know, which how could you, unless you were there. FBI.
Are you listening?
Dave, how are you? Yeah, we actually just hit the range before kind of actually getting here, chilling out, playing some music, all that. And we had a really good time at the range. The mats were actually frozen pretty much solid.
I thought we were hitting ice cubes.
Yeah, it definitely felt like it. It was good. Like, everything for me right now is so fucky. Like, I spend so much time working on my drives that now my ironing game is kind of whack.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy because I didn't bring my clubs out because we just got off work and just raced over.
And you saw how mean my slice is right now.
Yeah, but I feel like we were towards the end. We were starting to correct it.
I was curving the bullet.
Yeah, you were pulling that wanted shit with Angelina Jolie, but like, you know what I'm talking about?
You think he like reference drops that he was in Wanted as Professor Xavier? It's just like, you just gotta curve the mental reads. I don't know.
Could just use my brain power to curve the bullet. Yeah.
I love kind of talking on X-Men. We'll come back to golf really quick in a second, but
Go ahead, bro. I don't
so I love the scene. So obviously the biggest part in X-Men is like the dynamic
watched
between.
Days of Future Past yet.
No, we'll watch X2 tonight, then X3, so on and so forth. But in the first movie, I love the kind of like taunting / goading when he's possessing Sabretooth. And he's like choking Magneto out, and he cocks all the guns, he fires away, he's like, I can't hold it much longer, Charles, or I might not be able to stop it again. Like, I love that shit.
I love it too. Love it. And
it's so good.
there's moments like that.
Even
in the newer ones too.
That first movie, like, characterizes them so good. But back on golf.
Yeah, no, I was about to go on about X-Men.
No, we could definitely talk more about X-Men.
Oh yeah, sure.
Don't worry, we'll get there.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah,
It's a mountain climb. We're climbing Everest with all these topics.
But we're
we'll
also
get to
like
the peak.
going back down, and then I guess.
Yeah. It's like it's more like the Sierras, but fucking golf. So the thing I was noticing, because I didn't bring my clubs like I was going on about, dude, I was doing so much better with your driver. Like, I need to get a new driver.
So if you guys want to know my driver, this is a Cleveland Launcher 460. Love that club. That club is sick. I actually got that club from my oldest brother. The grip on it has been destroyed since I first got it. He's like, you just gotta re-grip it. Never re-gripped
Dude,
it.
run up to Shields. They have tons of grips.
I almost don't want to.
It's
It's just so magical. Yeah,
Character.
it's a beautiful thing.
It's a nice club too, and
Yeah.
I was just hitting so much better with that.
Love everything about it, like the contact that it makes, the sound.
And you're 7
like,
too. You got a new 7 iron, and that thing is
yeah.
fucking beast.
It I was just struggling with my irons, like my drives. I was hitting them out there, but
You know, but I feel like you made progress. Like you're making more contact.
Thank
you also
you.
got to take into account, like I was telling you out there, it was fucking cold, man. It's literally everything was.
I would have been
like,
slicing all the same, to be quite frank.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's not like I'm.
Dude, we can hit more balls after this.
Fucking down.
Let's go.
I'm down, dude. We can fucking play 9 holes if you want.
Oh man. It depends on when I can get things quite literally up and moving. Because if Sam gets the keys, then yeah, I'm looking to hustle some shit over there.
Of course. I forgot you were fucking moving to be.
Yeah, the conversation has been. I know.
Exciting.
Good news, everyone.
Good news.
I love Futurama.
So you don't have to tell specifically, but like what direction?
That way.
That way?
Yeah.
Super far or no?
No, like a couple streets over.
So are you using a U-Haul or a truck or how you?
Sam has a truck at her parents'.
I was gonna say you could
lot.
probably just use a truck and you'd be fine. Honestly.
Yeah.
You just do a couple.
We have some bigger things, but nothing. Nothing a truck couldn't fix there, brother.
Exciting though.
Yeah,
That's good
I'm stoked to set up everything. The kids are gonna have their own rooms, but yeah.
Awesome, man.
Golf.
That's way cool. Way
I
cool.
love golf.
Me too. I would love to go golfing.
So yeah, this is in person the cat that kind of got me out there. You're the person, you and Troy are the people that I played my first course with. It was a lot of fun. Surprisingly, way closer than I was only 3 strokes behind you. Did you know that?
Yeah, we compared.
Yeah, this man. I said it last podcast, but definitely like pulled out the Naruto Sharingan. He lifted the headband and just saw these old motherfuckers.
It's true.
And just like,
it's true.
I know Kung Fu now.
Dude, did you see, just a small tidbit, did you see the new Matrix trailer? He's like, I still know Kung Fu. Did you see that? No. At the very end. He fucking like jumps, does some spin shit on the fucking wall, and he just like,
dude,
he goes, I still know Kung Fu.
I didn't talk about this last time, but he actually got to learn Kung Fu. Like, he actually had like a master, a teacher brought in.
When they made the first
Yes.
one? No shit.
That is fucking sick. Like, there's behind-the-scenes footage of them being taught, like, Morpheus, Trinity,
I did not know they
Smith.
actually learned that.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me. I mean, Keanu Reeves is more known as being, like, a more
Speed?
physical...
Yeah, I got you. I watch Speed.
I'm trying to remember the one line from Speed that he says. I can't remember.
Dude, I don't know. I haven't watched Speed in ages. I love that movie, though.
I just recently watched it. It's
really
hella good. Yeah, it's pretty good. But,
he is beefy in that film.
yeah, no, Keanu Reeves is more known as like a physical actor than he is with line delivery. Whoa.
I love Whoa.
Why is this happening to me? What did I do?
I'm a big fan of Whoa.
He just says like the most, bless his heart. He's just
amazing.
Corny as fuck when he delivers his lines.
I love you.
Yeah. He's such like a surfer Chad. Like,
dude. No, I
know Kung Fu.
Dude,
show me. You think that's Ariel breathing now?
Have you ever wondered why your hair is back the way it is?
Yeah.
Do you use Bosley? Dude, honestly, I mean...
The Matrix is all around you. When you pay your taxes, when you scrub your balls.
Oh, so more behind the scenes of the original films, but you remember the highway scene in 2?
Yeah, before you say, because I think I might know a little bit about this, you probably have some more info on it, but that was customly built.
Yeah, they built that themselves.
That's why it's got wall dividers.
Yeah,
right?
and all the wood that they used, they donated it to make houses.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
See, I knew he was gonna say some shit I didn't know.
You could find it on YouTube. There's like a whole bunch about the behind the scenes. I'm not sure so much about the CGI, but and like with the camera work with the original, the move, the Matrix is what people call it. The Trinity help, yeah.
The bullet
the
time.
360.
The way that's set up, have you seen what that looks like behind the scenes? It's like fucking 100 cameras in a circle. They did that with Trinity, and they did that with the bullet time, and then they did it with the scene where Morpheus gets up and starts running to the helicopter.
Oh, man.
Remember the water, and you see the bullet go through his leg, and that's when he's like, he's not going to make it. So good.
It's
the smell.
It's the smell. Mr. Anderson. Oh, man. You go.
Anyway, going back to fucking golf, though.
By day, you go by Thomas A. Anderson.
Yeah.
But by night, you go by the hacker alias Neo. So good.
Yeah.
Do you know Thomas Anderson plays golf? No, I'm kidding.
That'd be crazy if he did. No, but this all started because you said I know Kung Fu. We were talking about golf. But I got you out there, and you said you had your own set of clubs. Did you get all those clubs from your brother?
No, I just the driver. I actually got the rest of the clubs from one of my homies, the homie that I boxed with, my 250-pound Simone friend.
That's some good shit right there. Because clubs are not cheap to come by.
He was cleaning out his closet. He's like, I'm going to move. Do you want these? And I've never used them before. And I'm just like...
Was this conveniently right when you were about to golf, or was this way, way back? So you've had them for a while?
I've hit up the driving... I've had them definitely for a while. But for like probably like 8 years. And... Yeah, like I was hitting up the driving range before then. My brother would let me borrow a couple of his clubs. I'd be fucking terrible.
Yeah.
And yeah, my homie was moving one day. He's like, I've never golfed a day in my life. Do you want these? I'm just like, yes, I would love them. And they've been sitting until like...
I was curious because you have a 2-iron.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me. Because I have a 3-iron, which I guess is actually not common in a typical set. They're gunning for me. I don't know if you...
My people need me. I must fly.
I don't know if you guys can hear this. Just sirens, but... no, you have a 2-iron. I've never swung a 2-iron. I was swinging that today. And
How was that?
it was all right. It was all right. I mean...
Where were you sending it?
I was hitting like how I would hit a hybrid. Maybe not so far, because a hybrid's got a little more spring.
It was kind of laying low, like...
It was hitting about...
Not so
honestly,
lofty.
I couldn't tell the difference between a 2-iron and a 3-iron. I know there is one, but I couldn't personally tell the difference. It was my first time hitting it, too, so I could have been hitting it.
That boils a lot down to the skill, because, you know, the better we get, the more we're going to be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to need about like a 3-iron in this situation. I could probably push my 2 or whatever. I don't know how clubs work. And, like... the difference in degree as well. You'd be like, oh, yeah, I prefer like a 60 degree in this situation. That's going to become more and more important, like the better we get. But even talking to Lucas, he's like, oh, yeah, I hit this iron like all the time, and I just give it more or less power.
That's what he said? Huh. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Well, I've always kind of had the mentality of like just... kind of see where you're averaging on each club.
I would agree.
And use that on your approach.
Well, that's where we're at right now, but
Sure,
it's gonna get more and more dialed, where it's just like in these situations, like I would love my sandwich, or like this is a nice 40 degree.
There's a thing I was going to bring up to you.
Go for it.
There's 2 things that we could do as far as trying to be more accurate with what club we should use when approaching to the green, for example. One would be to get an actual rangefinder, which you could get a golf rangefinder. I don't know what the fucking difference is. They're all the same. But if you get a hunting rangefinder, it's for some reason just tremendously more expensive.
Yeah.
It's a lot more expensive too. But just a rangefinder in general can just let you know how far away you are from the green. But there's also another way that's way cheaper. You can get this app. This is not a promo at all, but this app I use called 18 Birdies. And if you set it up to where you like put your name in, it'll say what course you playing. Say Fernley. I type in Fernley, it comes up, and it'll say you're playing at the first hole, and it shows from like a bird's eye view the entire hole. And then if you take your shot, right, shot 1, and then you go to your ball, and then you mark that you're on your shot 2, your location on your phone will show that you're
How
there
far away
on
you
there,
are
and
from...
it'll say, okay, your ball's here, and you're about 150 yards away from the hole. So that's kind of like its own rangefinder.
That's
the only
pretty
difference is that you got to go through all those fucking hoops to get there. So you could hold up pace of play because you're sitting there going like, I got to put this in. And then they're like, you going to play? And you're like,
give me a second, bro.
As opposed to just using the rangefinder and being like 150, you know?
Totally.
But the difference is one is free, one costs money. So
Yeah, when I first got out there, I was very surprised I didn't get a Wii Sports like HUD coming down where I could see the course or whatever.
You're the guy going, nice shot.
Nice cock.
Yeah.
Gee, thanks. I've been working on it. It's been working out. No, but it's been like super cool. Like I've been very stoked for whenever the next time we can all go is.
Very excited.
Next course we're gonna hit up is Fernley. I told you last time I played like 14 holes here. I did okay. I was pretty hit or miss. There were some times where I absolutely crushed the ball. Like you know the, let's say it's like hole 2 or no, it's hole 3. And you have to send it over the little river, over the brush.
I think that's hole 2.
No, hole 2 is the mini one. It's the one we use our irons on.
Oh, I know what one you're talking about.
Yeah, the one where
I know
we
what one you're
cross
talking
the
about,
bridge.
yeah.
The one just after the one where we cross our bridge. Like the next setup is right across from the bridge.
Yep.
Yeah, you have to cross over the river, and that one I absolutely smacked. I sent it
That's
way
the one I
over.
almost killed that fucking deer, right?
Yes, but that was on the back nine.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
But yeah, I crushed on that one. Sent it way over the brush, way over the river, but I couldn't find the ball. And I think I'm gonna go back to white balls because,
Okay.
no, I want to go back to white golf balls because with green ones, the neon green ones, I can track them in the air just fine. But when it comes to finding them in the grass,
Yeah. I'm sure it's a pain in the ass.
it is impossible.
Yeah. That's why they're so cheap, bro. They're really cheap compared to the rest of the colors. My dad uses red.
Really?
I always seem to find his before I find mine. And
Maybe I might try red. I don't
He
know.
uses red because it's just such a polar opposite contrast from green.
From everything else, from the blue to that's pretty smart actually.
My dad uses red.
Well, is red a complementary of green? I don't know.
Complimentary as far as, I mean, yeah, because Christmas. But I mean, like, as far as finding it, I just know it's a hell of a lot.
All right, I might have to
find
try that. I will try some red golf balls and next time.
I have a yellow one that I have yet to use. I want to see if that's easy to
I
find.
feel like that'll blend in with the grass. Maybe.
So,
I don't know.
I only have one.
Yeah, actually, all the ones at Fernley driving range are yellow.
Mm-hmm.
It's very weird.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and I talked about how much I did not like Fernley driving range at all.
Horrible.
It was actually maybe the worst driving range experience I've had. Like, having mats are okay. Like, hitting off a tee is actually pretty cool because it gives you that practice.
I literally only use that driving range when I'm warming up before playing the actual 18. The driving range I go to just to practice is the GSR one that you've been to.
That's so. While for a full bucket of balls is like $18 at the GSR, it is $9 at Fernley and it is $7 at Fallon.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it. I like the idea. The thing I like about the GSR though,
I like hitting in the water.
I can see where my shots are.
I dig
see
it.
exactly where I'm hitting my shots at, and I feel like it forces me to be more accurate because I'm actually trying to hit one of those islands out there.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Like it's like approaching a green. Yeah.
Now, not saying that it justifies the price.
I definitely get a laugh every time I hit one of the markers in the Fallon. So like the 100, 150.
yeah,
Every time like I hit like the 100 directly or the 50 directly, like and you just hear that, I like laugh to myself. I'm just like, I get a full SpongeBob. It's not a boulder, it's a rock.
Yeah.
No, but it's super sick, and I was pretty bummed to hear that Troy hasn't gone too much, because I remember you told me you went to the GSR not that long ago, but Troy told me he hasn't been since the last time me, you, him, and Dustin went.
Yeah.
That made me like a little bit bummed. I'm just like, oh, like, you know, everyone has lives, right? Like, but so I don't know who
Troy,
does or does not have time.
I think Troy looks at golf
like
like a social thing.
Probably.
I don't think he's.
I don't blame him for that.
This isn't a burn or anything. I'm just saying. I think that's just how he looks at it. I just think he looks at golf as
That's
like,
totally
I go
fair.
out and hang out with my buddy, which is cool.
I never thought of it like that.
Well, I mean, that was initially why I wanted to do it, but then I just started actually falling in love with the sport. So I was like, I want to get good at it, and it was like a really cool way for me and my dad to like do something together. So that's a big deal for me too. But I actually like the sport itself too. Like I could golf by myself if I really wanted to. Like. But I would just rather do it with somebody. Which
At least one person if I'm going to hit up a course.
Yeah, and I mean, there's been circumstances where I'm like, I know I'm golfing, but I'm going to ask everybody I know if they're willing to, and I always end up going with somebody. But I'm sure if there's a time where everyone's like, I can't, I would still go golfing because I like golfing.
If you are purely focused on just like, this is like a self-improvement section, like, it's fine. But, like, the time I went by myself for Fallon and hit the 14 holes, like, I was just like... Yeah, there's definitely something missing here about not having your dude bro say nice cock when you fucking...
It's kind of like skating.
Yeah.
That's why I compared it to skating to you, because like there's something... I mean, you could skate by yourself if you love it enough, just like golfing. You could skate and practice, but like it's fun to go skating with your buddies because your buddy could just be like, holy shit, you just 50 at the top coping and came back down, then rocked a fake it. That was a sick line.
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
And you get a little juiced on it, and you're like,
thanks, bro.
Maybe I'll try something I wouldn't have tried by myself. Because now I'm kind of feeding off
Pumped
that
up.
energy. I'm like, maybe I'll go ahead and try like a rock and roll instead of rock to fakie on this next go, because I'm a little bit more amped. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
it's just easier to get
So it's like the same in that aspect for sure. Like camaraderie is more than welcome in any sport in any capacity. It's definitely nice to have them both be like things where like, yes, I can do this by myself. I don't need someone. But when I skate and I'm focused on doing a thing, I'm like hyper focused, and I get in this hyper focus until like I land it. And even sometimes after the fact, I'm still like, okay, what's the next thing I can land on a skateboard? But with golfing, I'm in that hyper focused state for only like 5 seconds until I swing my club.
Yeah, I think the attention to technique is different. Obviously, there's more variety to skating. There's a lot more you could do. It's like the park is your canvas, essentially. You show up with your board, you're like, okay, what do I want to do? Do I want to jump off this, do a kickflip off that kicker, or do I want to go ride in the bowl? You know, there's more creativity to it. Golfing doesn't necessarily have a creativity aspect to it, which is fine. You know, it's its own thing. The thing that golfing has is that you can be creative with your shot and your approach. So you can't necessarily deviate from how you are playing the game. Or let me retract that. You can't necessarily deviate from you can't deviate the rules of the game, but you can actually change how you are playing it. So if I wanted to hit up onto the green, I could either just hit a straight up top shot and just have it drop straight down, or I can slice and fade it if you get good at those types of shots, you know?
Is there a Samantha? No, I thought I heard a gate open.
Oh.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. So all I was basically saying is that it's how you get there.
Yeah.
Is where you get creative. Not necessarily the rules of it, because skating could always have its rules broken. It's like freestyle skating is its own thing, but it's like if you really put rules on it, it's not necessarily barracks rules. You know, like there's different aspects to skating. Vert's its own kind of thing. Full park its own thing. Street
Freestyle, flat ground.
It's very genre.
Yeah.
Type of skating. If that's the best way I can put it.
But also when you're doing it by yourself, like you can touch up on all the genres.
Sure, but that's what I mean as far as creative. There's no genre of golfing. There's just the way you play it. But that's where you get creative, is how you're playing it, not necessarily the rules of the game. You can't break the rules. The rules are still the same.
The best instance I could think about like a different approach. Not that I did this intentionally, but
Don't let me forget. I actually have to ask you about something. But continue.
okay. On hole 2, on that one that we use our irons on, the one where we walk across the bridge. I did not do this on purpose, but instead of just like taking my iron, hitting clear up and over, and having it land on the green, I actually hit the wall of like the other side. So like, you know, river, like bank to river. I hit the bank, it bounced up and landed on the green.
No shit.
Yeah, that was totally on accident, but it was very cool.
Play where it lies.
Yeah, I mean, it worked. I got par on that hole. It was.
Yeah, dude, that's what's up. Good shit. So
At least I believe so. I could be mistaken.
I wanted to ask you, how was your short game?
Happy Gilmore.
Your putting?
Pre-Chubbs.
So do you feel like do you feel like you've got your long game down and then you lose it in your short game? Because that's me recently.
I would say so.
I'm getting better at my short game, but I've been doing it's so aggravating because it's like you've got a great line, you've got it perfectly lined up, you go to putt and it fucking kisses the fucking edge of the cup and you're like, you piece of and you want to just break the putter in half?
That happened to you so often.
Oh man, and then I'd end up 3-putting and I'd be like, I was putting for birdie. And now I've got a bogey, like.
So yeah, when we went out to play, like this man, so many times did he curve the bullet. Like he was imagining that the hole was Angelina Jolie, and just.
I don't know what happened, dude, but the short game aspect of it, I feel like I'm either being robbed or I'm just like a fucking centimeter off of where I'm lining up. Like it's that off. It's not like I'm drastically off because I'm fairly decent at like going like, okay, it looks like it's breaking that way, And it does break that way, but it just barely misses the cup, and I'm like, fuck. And it's like, it happens to me so many times, but I was curious to...
Yeah, my putting is a little rough. My chipping, it needs work. Best part of my game is my drives and my irons when I had them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we do go to the range after this, I'm going to be ironing away.
Yeah. I feel like, if anything, if you do want to go back out after the podcast, maybe we should practice putting.
Yeah, we totally can.
Do you have golf balls on you? I was going to say I had a bunch on me.
I think I might have a couple.
But yeah, I need to practice my short game. Perfect way to practice that too is go play miniature golf with your putter.
I would love to.
I'm just saying in general.
There's a miniature out over by where me and Sam get ramen.
Really?
Yeah, Minato.
Here in town?
No.
Oh.
I wish.
Wait, where's the ramen place you guys go?
Minato. It's over... Damn, where is it by? I want to say it's by Hobby Lobby, but I could be way mistaken.
In Reno?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's is it Magic Carpet? Miniature golf?
No idea.
There's a couple miniature golf places. I like the one at the Coconut Bowl, but regardless of like your preference on...
I will be right back. I have to take a wicked piss.
I was going to say I have to pee too, so I was hoping we could fucking pause it.
And we're back from the bathroom break.
Yeah. What were we going on before we...
If you guys haven't liked the podcast already, remember to drop a like, subscribe, and all that good shit. Jeez.
We were talking about golf, I think, and stuff.
Yeah, and
you
you also had a question to ask me. You're like, remind me to...
Yeah, it was the putting. That's
Okay.
what it was.
Yeah.
I was asking you about the putting.
Gotcha. Yeah, my I've hit some okay putts.
So you were saying you would like to go to the miniature golf place by that ramen place, or...
Yeah, I would like to.
You haven't gone, though?
I have not gone.
Gotcha. Yeah, I would recommend...
Really good ramen. I'm a big fan of the noodles in any capacity. I had their Spicy Man's ramen. That was great.
Yeah.
I also had their black garlic ramen. That sounded like incredible. Just like the idea of like black garlic.
Nope.
I love garlic in every capacity, but it was not that good.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little bummed about that.
Yeah, I forget the exact ramen place I go to, but there's a really nice ramen place that I like too, and I think I had the black garlic one and I liked it, but I like the spicy one more. That's my spicy pork.
I love spicy food.
Like it had pork and it was spicy, and I love ramen. So, yeah.
Same. I love soft-boiled egg, extra noodles.
Oh yeah.
Pork.
Oh yeah, it's all so good and so filling too. Ramen's the best.
Ramen almost needs to be spicy for me.
Me too.
I just love spicy food in general.
Me too.
But I don't know. There are certain foods that I'm just like, this only tastes good spicy. That's not the case for ramen. Ramen can be great, not spicy.
Mm-hmm.
Something I'm gonna put you on though. Ramen packet. Drain the water.
Like top ramen?
Yes, top ramen. Butter. Beef seasoning.
Is that not normal or something?
People don't do that.
What's the difference? You just put butter in it?
Drain the water, butter.
I've eaten it without
Yeah?
water. Yeah.
We done butter?
I've never done butter.
Definitely do butter. It's gonna...
You know what you do with the beef?
It has to be beef though.
If you have beef, put Tapatio in it. If you have chicken seasoning, put Sriracha in it.
I put Tapatio in my... I used to put Tapatio in my noodles anyways. If I have the broth,
Well, I'm saying mix the beef seasoning in there, and
Okay.
if there's the beef ramen flavor,
Yeah.
whatever. Beef with
Tapatio.
Tapatio. The chicken one, Sriracha.
Okay, I'll have to try that.
mean.
I like it.
Yeah, it's
I
so
like
good. It's so good. When I was dead broke, when I was 18, 19, I would fucking buy the carton of those boxes that had just rows of top ramen and just live off that. It's
The shit, honestly, ramen is so bad for you, but it's so good.
I love it.
Just the sodium levels is just so high. I understand. I think it's just as great.
It's cheap.
Sam and I have been trying to make our like own noodles, so we'll get like ramen cups, ramen packets, whatever, and then we'll take the noodles. We'll do our own broth and stuff, though. We'll add veggies, so green onion, garlic, whatever. And it's been really good. She's been killing it.
Hell yeah, man.
I cook here and there. Made some.
I was gonna ask you, do you cook at all?
Here and there. Sam is definitely the better cook. I started cooking a lot more living with her, just because she's not around all the time, and why would I not want to make a meal for her from time to time?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
But living with my parents, it was like my mom just had to cook everything. It was like a fear to experiment in any capacity. So like at most I'd make like a grilled cheese or a quesadilla. Sometimes eggs, but even now I'm just like, I don't want to mess up eggs because eggs are very easy to mess up.
Yeah. I'm decent at making eggs. I'm not much of a cook either. But I mean, I live with 2 other guy roommates, but it's not like we cook for each other necessarily. We kind of just cook our own.
You guys don't make each other romantic meals?
No, it's not like I'm wearing like an apron that says "Kiss the Chef." I'm like, boys,
come and get it.
Food's ready. Like I'm not doing that. We kind of make our own food. So I've been cooking for myself lately. I mean, I do a lot of like Uber Eats or DoorDash in general if I can afford it. But there's times that I cook for myself. I preferably make like just beefy breakfast burritos, throw some like potatoes in there and shit like that. I'm not much of a cook though, so like that's
sometimes that's all you need. Like last night I made tacos. Tacos are not hard to make. You just
that's
beef.
true, like the ground
but I made some steak, like I'll make some like green beans or whatever.
Stir fry is pretty easy to make too.
Okay, I do fuck with some stir fry.
Stir fry is pretty easy to make.
I love jambalaya as well.
Yeah, I mean just take some fucking rice. I mean rice is pretty easy to make. We have a rice maker, so.
We don't, but we got minute rice. It's all the same.
Dude, you got an air fryer?
No.
Bro, get an air fryer immediately.
I see the TikToks, bro.
Immediately.
Everybody air fries everything.
I'm not a cook. I will fucking throw anything in that air fryer, and it turns out amazing every
People
time.
do that.
French fries, fucking...
chicken nuggets,
chicken tenders, anything. I put everything and anything in there.
Damn.
Hot dogs, dude. I've air fried hot dogs in there.
I've seen someone do something. I think they just did like a quesadilla pizza.
Yeah.
And they're just like, oh, yep, freaking
chicken patties. Throw them in there.
Word.
It's just so much, and I'm telling you, you just jack that fucking temperature up pretty much max. Throw it in there for like 15 minutes. It's ready. And crispy. It's not like, you know how you microwave it? It's
kind of
soggy.
soggy.
But it's soggy. It's not like that. It's like it came out of the oven. Air fry. Good investment.
I've been baking a lot too. Just very simple stuff. Like I don't make anything from scratch.
I don't know why I just imagine you in like a Betty Crocker outfit.
All right, boys.
We're making a cake.
2 shots of vodka. Damn, homegirl likes a party.
Yeah.
No, like
This is how you make a cake, and you're like.
I'm just so used to having like sweets in the house from being at my parents. Like there would always be cookies, brownies, so on and so forth. And I'm just like, it's weird not having these things here, so I'm gonna make it.
Yeah.
So I'll get like the little box and just like 2 eggs, some milk or whatever in that joint, and just throw that shit in the pan.
I want to get good at making like Mexican style food, like enchiladas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I had an ex-girlfriend that made the best fucking enchiladas I've ever had in my fucking life.
Let me not get overconfident here, but I feel like I can do it.
Do it. Fuck, dude. Like enchiladas are so good. There was just this one recipe I remember having of enchiladas where I was like, this is the best thing I've ever eaten.
Sam makes some pretty damn good enchiladas, and it's just because she found like I think a recipe on Pinterest.
That's exactly where she found it too. Was the enchilada recipe was on Pinterest.
Yeah,
and it was just the best fucking thing I've ever had.
I literally
I want to get that good.
So I made a Pinterest just for food stuff. I rarely use it, but it's just like learn how to make.
I think I used to have a Pinterest for that. I should re-download it though, because I follow excuse me, a couple of subreddits for like meal preps and stuff like that, of like ideas for like meals and whatnot. And yeah, another thing I might invest in is have you heard of that what the hell is it called? HelloFresh. Have you heard of that?
Yes.
I've tried it and it's pretty bomb.
I used to be recommended Blue Apron. That was like the OG one.
Yeah, they're pretty much the same thing. You know.
I just kind of like, oh, this sounds good, so I'm just gonna grab all the stuff.
The way it works is that you just order the meals that you want,
and it
the
gives
meal
you a
will
step by
last you
step.
like a week, right? Because it's such a big amount, but it gives you the instructions and the ingredients, and it's like It's like putting it together like an IKEA desk or something.
think
it's like as long as you just fucking do what it
follow the
says,
steps,
it's easy. Or building a Lego set. Like, it's like the same
I've
thing.
just been firing from the hip, and there's been pretty good success. Funnily enough, the thing that took me a while was pancakes, but now Sam's like, you make better pancakes than I do. And just
I
like,
cannot fucking make pancakes. I
you
have
just
a waffle.
you get some mix, bro. Dude, I'm gonna get a sick ass Christmas gift, cause Sam spoiled it for me, but she didn't mean to, because they were out of stock on this thing, but only for them to just regain stock. It's like, well, I told you a Christmas present. The only reason she told me is because it was out of stock. It's like, well, I can't get it for you, and now she could. And it's a taiyaki maker. So a taiyaki maker is like a Japanese treat. It's like waffle mix or pancake mix, and it's in the shape of a fish. But some places you'll put stuff in the mix, so you'll put like Nutella in there, or like, I don't know, cookies and cream stuff, caramel, whatever you feel like. But there are places that specialize with this. The good thing about California is they have all kinds of food.
Oh, yeah.
Mexican, Japanese,
Absolutely.
Chinese, everything.
Very cultural.
And they would, like, the taiyaki shape is just a fish, but the taiyaki shape that they had was a fish with an open mouth. So you put it on top of ice cream, like it's eating the ice cream, and it had like a Nutella filling on the inside of the fish's mouth, and it was just great. Like,
I've never heard of this, but it sounds great.
it's very
I'll have
good.
to check it out.
It's just a giant fish-shaped waffle. You get some Nutella in there. You serve it with ice cream.
Yeah, that sounds bomb.
It's
yeah,
very
we have
good.
a waffle maker. I mean, waffles are pretty easy as long as you just keep fucking flipping the.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to try was a podcast put me onto this. Still haven't tried it, but ice cream with cereal. So just think of it as a cereal topping to ice cream. So some Captain Crunch, some Cocoa Pebbles.
On top of ice cream?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I've never even thought
If
to
you
do that.
fuck with Raisin Bran Crunch, that too, or like Honey Bunches of
I
Oats.
feel like Fruit Loops would be good with ice cream. And then put some like Hershey's chocolate syrup on the top of that shit.
Maybe. That's what I'm saying. Like, I should weigh like 250 pounds.
You and me both.
Yeah,
I eat
it's-
so fucking much. It's not even funny.
Like, I snack a lot. I snack way too much for my own
I
good.
snack a lot too.
I think it's just a problem since I was a kid. Like, I just got so used to like, oh, let me devour everything in the pantry.
It's crazy. I've actually significantly cut back on sugar, like candies and stuff like that.
I'm
because
just as bad.
I was so bad with it as a kid. Like as a kid, I drank so much fucking caffeine, like sodas and shit. Like that's all we had was sodas. So I
Yeah.
just drink nothing but sodas, eat nothing but sugar. Weekends playing video games with my friends. Just let's go up to the nearest gas station.
Let's
get, like,
huff some Mountain Dew, bro.
15 fucking Monster energy drinks and
yeah.
a fucking case of Mountain Dew, and it's like, let's stay up all night playing zombies.
What's
and
your
I do
favorite
fucking
Mountain Dew? I fuck with the
Baja
blue one.
Blast or Code Red.
I fuck with the blue one.
The blue
Voltage.
one's not bad. Voltage, yeah, I've had that one. I think the Baja Blast is my favorite though. It's just a classic. I always get it at Taco Bell.
I had the Baja Blast freezes. Not as good.
Yeah, the freezes are a little meh. They're also like the fucking like the cup that it comes in isn't very big.
Damn, I want some Taco Bell right now.
Yeah, I know. But like I would rather get a Slurpee than
Fair.
one of those freezes because at least the Slurpee I can get the biggest fucking cup and it's like this big, you know. So,
Totally. The American sized. I get you.
yeah, and it's like a fucking $1.30 or something like that, and it's like free on 7-Eleven day.
Yeah,
I haven't had a Slurpee in a long time now that I think about it.
I get them way too often because Sam's like, oh, can you get me a Coke slushie? I'm just like, yeah,
I
sure.
can fucking DoorDash 7-Eleven to my house. It's ridiculous, but I can if I wanted to.
Well, yeah, like, so I've just been trying to cook a lot more. Like, I made some, like, New York steaks. It was pretty good. Like, I charred them pretty good, but Sam was like, these are, like, they're charred on the outside, but they're great on the inside.
Yeah.
And I made it on this. I made it on a skillet. Like, I didn't feel like getting some propane or getting some charcoal to fire up a grill. But I make some pretty decent burgers. Like, I made like a nice blue cheese burger.
Nice.
It's very good. Some
Well, my dad's a really good
grill master.
grill. Yeah, he makes some good ass steak, and he does this. I mean, it's probably a normal thing for a lot of people do, but he like takes tin foil, puts a fuck ton of butter in there, puts potatoes sliced up in there, twists the tops, and put it. Oh, he used to put Velveeta in there,
Ooh.
so it just melt.
Okay.
Like cheesy potato. Oh my god, dude.
Dude, I love like the cheesy potato slices.
Oh, dude, he stopped doing it. I don't know why. Every time he makes it, I'm like, do you put Velveeta in it? He's like, no. I'm like, you haven't done that since I was like 10. I was like, why'd you stop fucking doing that? It's so good.
My blood pressure. It's the smell.
It's the smell. No, but I was like, it's fucking diabetes in a goddamn tinfoil cap, but it's so good.
This is so off topic, but like,
no, you're good.
I've really been wanting to go camping.
Oh, me too, dude. So bad.
Like, I haven't gone camping since like me, Troy, and my ex-girlfriend and Genevieve went.
I haven't gone camping since my ex-girlfriend, and Troy and Drew went, and that was at the what is it even called? It's a Fort Churchill over at the Carson River. Really cool campground. I had a blast, but that was 3 years ago. It's been a while. I wanted to go camping so bad, dude. I have a tent and everything. I just have no one to go camping with.
Yeah, I'm a dude. Maybe sometime we'll go out.
Absolutely.
Have a blast.
Should do it like spring or summer.
I would definitely hope for summer, just because like Nevada's so fucking weird sometimes.
You never know.
Because like it'll be sunny one day and then 30 minutes later it's pouring rain.
Yeah, I would love to go camping. I'm a very outsidesy kind of guy. Like, I just like being outdoors.
There's something like weirdly, like you get into like caveman survival mode.
Oh, that's what I love about it. It's like if you just bring out like, because typically you just have like a fire pit or something, but like as soon as you get into that mentality, it's just like, okay, well, I got some hot dogs, got this, and you just kind of like make food over the fire and then bring a guitar out, maybe tell some stories and stuff like that. I mean,
Totally.
Yeah, but yeah, I totally get what you're saying, where you scavenge around for like twigs to kind of stoke the fire a little more.
Yeah, I
love camping.
Was the one that made the fire last time. I brought an entrenching tool, so a mini shovel. I got all of the sticks, the wood, got fuel to light it, brought paper, cardboard, was using whatever to keep it going. And yeah, it's just something very weird. I had this cool little tent. I think I still have it. It might be at my parents' house, but it's literally just a throw one, and it just. And it's just
a tent.
Yeah.
That just fucking blows up into a tent. It's like a bouncy house.
It's like imagine something like spring loaded. I don't exactly understand.
I'm imagining like those rafts that they throw off a fucking cruise when it's going down.
It's just collapsible. So imagine like a ring, and it's like, I call it the turtle. It's like this green like multi-ring thing where you just kind of throw it out and it just like opens up.
You just like go gadget tent.
Essentially, yeah.
Throw it out there and just fucking.
It's pretty rad. It was a gift.
Cool as shit.
It was a gift from my parents. It's like this small like, a little thing, but if you're with someone like intimately, like a nice small tent is pretty nice.
I'm pretty good at my tent is just a classic connect them and then you stake it in the ground, connect them to the stakes and everything. That's my tent, but I've gotten really good at doing it. It's just the only time where I was just like, let me fucking do this is like we got there hella late because of traffic, so it was like dark, so I couldn't fucking see. So I'm like, point the light here, like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't fucking see. It's like pitch black. But I don't mind assembling tents like that. That's the only time I've really gotten where I was just like, fuck this fucking thing.
Yeah, I actually got it as a gift like long ago, and like that thing is sick, dude. Like, I don't have to do anything to set up. Like, it's just big enough to fit you, another, and like a couple bags.
I've honestly been tempted to just bring my hammock, because one time I brought a hammock out and just attached to one tree and the other, and I just slept in that.
That sounds great if I did not fear like mosquitoes.
That's the way my hammock worked.
Oh, just close on up.
So like I'd put a blanket on, I'd have a pillow right here, and then you could just close it up like that and then just fall asleep inside it, and it was just like bundle you up.
It's pretty fucking sick.
It was actually way cool. Plus you could like there'd be a couple times where I just grab the ground and I just rock myself. So I'd just be rocking like this and just, it was great.
That's tight.
And so I might just do that. The only problem is like I'm the type of sleeper where I don't really like sleeping on my back, and it's weird because whenever I sleep on my back,
I sleep on my side.
I get sleep paralysis every time I sleep on my back.
Really?
Every fucking time. And I'm not, because there's been times where I've just been hammered and I've just like gone to lay down and I'm like, and I just sleep on my back, and then like I get sleep paralysis and I'm like, oh God, I can't move. Like, But if I sleep on my side or I sleep on my stomach, I don't get it. It's only on my back. So
That's very strange.
I have to sleep on my side or my stomach. So when I'm in the hammock, I always end up on my stomach. But the hammock's like this, so I look like I'm just scorpioning inside the hammock, and I'm like, why is my back hurt? Like
I mean, the rule too. You know the rule about hammocks: don't get in a hammock with someone unless you plan on getting intimate with them, because it might happen on accident.
That's true.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. Well, the only times I've ever been in a hammock with somebody was girlfriends.
I hope so. Be a bit weird if it's your sibling, brother, and/or best friend.
I remember a girl I dated a long time ago. I like went to hang out with her like one of her friends' place. They had a hammock in the backyard, and we were just like hanging out, and we were swinging on the hammock. And I was just like, wouldn't it be funny if this thing fucking broke and like, and then the thing started going and sliding down the trail. I was like, oh shit! I was like,
I was kidding.
The fuck out.
I was kidding.
She was like, why would you say that? And I was like, I was fucking kidding. Like,
You put it into the universe, bro.
I put it in the universe, and then the fucking hammock was like, that would be funny and sick.
Hey, by the way, fuck you.
Dude, yeah.
Oh,
Good
man.
times, man.
Yeah, as much as I am a person that, like, I appreciate my inside time, like, I appreciate gaming, I appreciate chilling out, doing nothing, working on videos, writing, music stuff, whatever. Like, I just as much appreciate the outside. Like, I love skating, love golfing, love camping, and man, I remember my mom getting so pissed off because she could not make mac and cheese over a fire when we went camping when we were little kids, because the flame is inconsistent, and like it was like the water was getting murky, like the noodles just would not boil properly.
Yeah.
I think she was using well water too.
Huh.
And I think that's part of the problem. Like, it was just too much for the inconsistent fire to actually even get boiling.
Yeah.
No. You have to like cook something like hot dogs, like fish, like.
Oh yeah, like the traditional stuff. I mean, it's traditional for a reason. It's so easy to cook.
So what's some stuff you would bring out there?
S'mores.
S'mores,
obviously. Hot dogs, some patties, maybe some eggs too. I would bring some eggs out there. Eggs are always easy because you can just make scrambled eggs. I mean, it's just use a fork or something. Lanterns. Are you just talking food? Food. Yeah. Hot dogs, patties, just a typical. I mean, I'm trying to think of what it's been so long, man, that I'm trying to just think of stuff we brought out there.
The Wisconsin in me is in tandems with hot dogs, brats. Like I'm a.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It wasn't just like generic.
No, for sure.
Franks. We would bring brats out there too, but.
I love brats. Like beer brats. Like those are.
Me too. You know, I was gonna kind of go because you got me on the topic of like campfires and like just shit to do when you're camping. I think I was talking about it with my neighbor. I might have talked about it with you too, but because my neighbor upstairs, he's like learning guitar and stuff, and he was
cool, awesome.
I was like, that's way
Dustin?
cool. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you know Dustin, yeah. And so I was talking with him, and he was like, yeah, but he's like, I'm not necessarily learning anything like advanced like you know. And I was like, well, here's the thing. I was like, to be a good musician, you're
gonna play Smoke on the Water. Like,
well, not only that, but I was like, to make good music or be a good musician, you don't have to be like, like, you know what I mean? Like,
it could be very simple. Yeah.
I was like, I can play that stuff if I really wanted to. Like, I can learn that kind of technique and that kind of like odd time signature stuff, which I've learned.
Word.
But I feel like the music I really like playing is the type of songs that you play at a campfire that everyone knows.
Let's gather around the
like
campfire.
Today is gonna be like, you know what I mean? Like, and everyone just starts singing along. You're all drinking and then having fun. Like, that's what I feel like. I'm the type of musician I like that. I like it when I get everyone to sing.
I totally
play the
agree.
guitar and everyone else does. Like, I like that.
I definitely have a lot of songs like that in my song bank. Like, I remember going over to a friend's house. Shout out Ronan. Love you, Ronan. And yeah, he had a guitar. I'm just like, bro, can I see that shit? And he was just like, hell yeah, bro. We were all like drinking. We were all pretty much drunk. And, you started playing the whatever tomorrow bring. And then everyone's like, I'll be there.
Yeah.
You hit him with a ba-da-da-da-da.
My roommate plays piano, and he knows Piano Man by Billy Joel?
Of course he does.
So you just and he played it one time, and we were all hammered. We were like, "Sing us the song, you're Piano Man!" Like we were fucking hammered singing it. But I love that. Like that's what I really live for.
Dude,
like,
if somebody busts out the
musician.
Journey like that.
Oh, but like,
It took the midnight train going in.
I would rather be that guy than the guy that's like, "Look what I can do," and everyone's just like, "Yeah, we get it.
Watch me shred.
Like we get it. You're good at you know." I would rather play a song and then everyone's just like, "Oh shit!"
I knew
Start singing
a
like
very interesting drummer. He could only drum to metal. Like his timing was like he was so like bursty and doing like the quick, but just like regular time signatures. So
just tough for him to keep.
yeah, for some reason.
You know, I'm not much of a drummer, but I love listening to people talk about music, and I listen to podcasts, like music podcasts. And one thing that they said they give the drummer of AC/DC a lot of credit is that they're like, yeah, it's basic, just like right, like kind of drumming, but it's really hard to keep that groove the entirety of a song, like,
Word.
and be completely on BPM. So they give, his name is Phil Rudd. He's still around. I mean, it's not
His
like
name
fucking
was In the Arms.
no, he's the drummer of AC/DC, but like everyone, like most drummers are like, yeah, but like he's not doing blast beats or anything like that, like metal would do. But it's like, hey, it's
Consistent
looks
timing,
easy,
yeah.
But it's being consistent and on beat that whole time and keeping that BPM is a lot harder than it seems.
Yeah, there's something like something like that. Like you can't help but to appreciate the fundamental. Just like you can be super technical, but like stumble on the fundamentals.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because then you start like forgetting all that because you're not practicing it enough. Now
I hear you.
only know how to play the fast, intense shit, and now you can't play Wonderwall like you used to.
Yeah, I'm super out of practice. Like, but I still have a lot of fun with it. Like I'm still working on my own stuff. Like here and there, I'm still dabbling with music. It's still in there a little bit, but there's not the same drive to like go out and learn. Like I think it's all interesting when I hear someone talk about music theory or break down the composition of a song. Like I can follow along enough where like I'm just like, you're right, this is so ingenious, like the story that this chord progression is telling, and now they're shifting it into like now like they might have used this triad or whatever and they didn't resolve it until this end point in the song. I'm just like, yes, that was very interesting.
Yeah.
But like I can follow along enough.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the thing that really just kind of opened my mind up to the different possibilities you can have with just writing songs and like different perspective was first time listening to Tool, because they're my favorite band.
Oh, the time signatures, like the drumming,
time signatures,
the bass is essentially the lead instrument.
The way the songs progress, the lyrics, just everything about their music was just such a like, whoa, first time hearing it. Like, I mean, like Schism, that bass line, I was just like, I had never heard a bass riff like that. Like,
I know the pieces fit.
But I mean,
So
and then
good.
seeing them live and stuff like that. So like that's at the time I still love them. Not necessarily the music I like play or anything like that today, but like I still love them and I learned their songs because I just had to like figure out how to play that kind of timing.
So it was so funny for me. Like I love Tool. I was introduced to it by my oldest brother. Shout out Tim. You're amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I kind of gained the love vicariously through him. And I like everyone knew that like, oh yeah, Brad likes Tool. And oh, thank you. Yeah, Brad likes Tool, and he's the Tool guy that I know. Like, I'm not the biggest Tool fan in the world. I don't know every song. I don't know every line, lick, so on and so forth. But I
do. I'm a die-hard fan of that band.
and I appreciate that. Like, I appreciate that Tool is so sick. Like, they're so unique, and vocal coaches analyzed.
Maynard.
Yeah, thank you. Names.
Yeah.
But so this was like after I moved, and I was listening to. I went back down to California. I listened to some Tool with Vince, my boxing homie, my homie that gave me the golf clubs, homie for life. I play fighting games with him. Big shouts to him. I will try to remember to put something in the description for him because he does amazing art as well. And so I was listening to Tool with him. He was like really getting into it. It's like, this is fucking sick, because he's super technically inclined musically as well. Like, you guys both are super advanced musically, but you guys are on very different spectrums of like how you analyze things.
Sure.
And he was like gaining an appreciation for it. And so I went back up to Nevada, back home. And next time I came down, I didn't put any Tool on. But Vince put Tool on. And I'm just like, when you walk into someone else like playing it for you, I'm just like, nice.
My roommate, I turned my roommate on to Tool, and like I would hear him, like, because he's a bassist, so I'd hear him practicing Schism, and I'm like, oh shit, you learning Schism? And he's like, this shit is hard, bro. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I was like, they're fucking cool, man.
And you just like listen real close, and all you hear is
oh yeah, 46 and 2. Like, the thing with me and Tool now is that like I've listened to them so much that like I mean literally so much for like like that period of time that like he's a big slump. Sorry, buddy. But I listen to Tool so much that like it's not that I can't listen to them now. It's just that like I feel like I've gathered everything that I could from them. Plus, I'm not necessarily like into metal as much as I used to be. Like with my project Poolside Banner, that's going to be more like an Incubus style, Oasis style.
What is your favorite song from Tool?
That is fucking tough.
I would say Sober or
Sober's good. Actually, I know what it is.
Either that or Jesus on the Sideline.
Right in 2.
Yes, right into.
I just knew it immediately what he was talking
Yeah,
about.
I knew he would. Yeah, those two are pretty up there for me.
My favorite one is Push It, but it's the Salival version.
Okay.
Any hardcore fans out there would know what I'm talking about. But yeah, Push It's Salival version. It's a live rendition of the song Push It. It's different than the studio version. It's a fucking masterpiece. It's kind of got the same vibe as Ride In 2, where it's like really kind of soft and it builds up into this heavy thing.
So
really cool.
Like just outside of Tool, and maybe like I fell in love with this band more than Tool, but I love 10 Years. Like
10 Years is good too.
10 Years has been like, if I was not known as a Tool guy, I was known as the 10 Years guy. Like I tried to.
In the fire, right.
I feed on the friction.
Did I ever tell you when I was a kid, when 10 Years came out with that album, I think it's Feeding the Wolves or whatever, that record. They were here in Reno, and when I was a kid,
I saw them live in Sacramento.
Oh, dope! That's way cool. But
very good live.
When I was a kid, I used to, because there was no Spotify. God, I fucking feel old. But there was no Spotify or Apple Music or anything like that. I mean, you had iTunes and you could buy songs, but
is the name of this one going to be We Feel Old Part 2?
maybe. But no, I used to come home and my parents gave me like a radio, and I had like 4 speakers, and it was set up like to just be this massive stereo at the time.
Very sick.
So I'd come home and I used to just like hang out in my room and just listen to the radio, and that's how I'd find songs. That's how I'd find bands. And I remember they were like, today we have 10 Years in the studio, and they like interviewed them, and they're like, now they're gonna play an acoustic set. And they played Fix Me live on the radio acoustically.
So
that's
good.
how I found that band.
Yeah,
I didn't even hear Wasteland at that point. I'd never heard of this band until they played live, and I was like, this band's sick.
Yeah, another one I got through both of my brothers, more so Tim. But like they say, you don't really start to develop your own taste in music until about like 13 or so. Like a lot of what your taste is your parents' music up until that point, because it's all you know.
It's true.
And like I'm definitely grateful for it, because like when you hear Queen, Journey, like how could you not gain an appreciation for them?
Yeah,
and
like 70s music for sure.
I feel like I need to. Oh man, I had like such like a funny moment with our oldest kid, and Sam and I were listening to some music. We were jamming out. We were cleaning, and the oldest child, he's 5. He comes into the room covering his ears, and he's like, "What are you guys listening to?" And I'm just like, "We're listening to music, dude. Like, do you know like?" And like Sam and I were like, we weren't even listening to anything older. We were listening to like some like R&B covers that are like came out all of a couple of years ago. And I'm just like, man, like if I I didn't know what to think. Like, I just thought it was so funny. And I'm just like,
Is he familiar with music, or?
We honestly don't have the radio on. Like, I feel like I need to have it on more now just because of that, like, interaction. Like, I know he knows what music is. Like, he, like, is kind of interested in the guitars whenever I break one out. Like, the littlest one, like, randomly turns on the piano at full volume. We're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
While we're, like, folding clothes or something. But, you know, we don't have music on too much. Like, if Sam's listening to music, it's in our earbuds or something like that. So maybe that's something I gotta start doing more.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think of when I was a kid. Like, I remember I had a friend's dad that would, he was really into collecting music, so he'd had, like, a bunch of artists on iTunes and whatnot. But he had a huge stereo system out in the living room. So whenever me and this buddy would, like, hang out in the living room, like, playing with Legos or something, I'm talking like it's 7-8 years old, you know, he would play, like, rock music. So that was, like, how I got really into, like, modern day at the time. This is like mid 2000s. So Breaking Benjamin was, like, the modern day rock band.
Something's getting in my way.
Yeah, so, like, that's how I found, like, Seether and stuff like that. I was
man.
like, oh, these bands are cool. And his dad would be like, you never heard of them? And I was like, no.
He's
like,
broken when he's lonesome.
Yeah, so I asked my parents, I was like, can I get an MP3 player? Remember, that's what I asked for Christmas. And then I went over to that buddy's house, and I was like, can you put all that music on here?
I love this.
And he was stoked about it, his dad. He was like, yeah, buddy. He's like, I'll put all this music
That's
on
awesome.
there. So he gave me all this music, and he's like, there. He's like, listen to all these bands. And then my dad showed me stuff from the 90s. So, like, as I was getting older, like, I got really into Guitar Hero, like I had mentioned to you before. My dad noticed that I liked Guitar Hero a lot at, like, 10. And so I'd be playing these songs, and my dad would be like, well, you ever heard of, like, Metallica? And I'm like, no. And he'd, like, showed me the Black Album, you know. And then I remember he was like, you ever heard of Nirvana? And I was like, no. And my dad would buy me CDs.
That's awesome.
Which is way cool. So that, like, my parents made it apparent for me to, like, listen to music, you know, and not just rock music, but, like, music they thought I would like. And then my first real introduction to music was my Aunt Lindsay, my mom's sister. She was really into, like, the new metal when in the early 2000s, like System of a Down, Linkin Park, Korn, stuff like that. But my mom was like, you're gonna curse him with this devil music stuff. And then, like, my aunt would be like, you want to come hang out with me, buddy? I'd be like, yeah. And I'd get in the car, and she'd, like, blare Linkin Park. And I remember one time my mom was, like, in the front seat and I was in the back seat. I was still in, like, a car seat.
Keep going.
And my mom was like, you have to turn this down. You're going to hurt his ears. And all she hears is me in the background go, crawling in. She's like, what the fuck? I'm just, like, screaming Crawling by Linkin Park on the top of my lungs. And she was like, Celia, he loves this music. Stop making me turn it down. And so that was, like, my introduction. I loved Linkin Park at, like, 5 years old.
I might mess this up, but... Oh.
Oh!
Tired of being what you want me to be. I think there are sharps and flats, but we were talking about a bit about that. It's, like, a very fun tool. It goes, as I said, up by semitone, from right to left, or left to right, or whatever. It's fun to mess around with.
Yeah, this is.
I almost did the Rugrats theme on accident one day.
I was trying to play the Dr. Dre thing. Damn it.
Such a pretty instrument.
Yeah, that's way cool.
Yeah, I try to
And
figure
that
out...
was your ASMR for the podcast.
I try to figure out how to play Never Too Late on it. I got it, like, a little bit, but I haven't messed around with it in a while. But it's, like, a very cool little, like, trinket instrument thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's super cool. Like, I wasn't exactly exposed to music like that. Like, I wasn't exactly directly given,
I'm
like,
very thankful for that.
songs
you know?
or anything like that. I was just like, my parents are listening to this, so, like, I'm listening to it.
I think I've always naturally been drawn to music. I think my parents knew that. I just am thankful that my parents recognized that in me and fed that. So they were like, we'll get you a guitar, buddy. And like, we want you to learn guitar. And they bought me an electric guitar. And like, my parents were never the type that were like, okay, turn it off. Like, I would be fucking jamming on my guitar like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, not knowing what I'm doing. And they never came in and were like, shut the fuck, never, ever. My parents always just let me figure it out and like learn how to play it and stuff.
So
I'm so thankful for that because I wouldn't be the guitarist I am today.
I was pretty, like, I came up in an okay circumstance as far as like my access to things. So that bass is actually my dad's bass, or it was.
Way cool.
So Garrett, my older brother, he got a guitar one year for Christmas, and Hannah did too. And my brother didn't really go anywhere with it. So the guitar ended up being on the wall, and I was just like, hey, can I use this? Mm-hmm. And so, you know, we had an acoustic guitar in the house. We had an electric guitar in the house. We had a bass in the house, and a phone call awaiting. Hello, darling.
Hey,
Hi.
are you done with your podcast?
Nope.
Okay, I just got off work.
Well, come on home.
I need to go to the bank and take out money and go do the deposit to get the keys for the house.
Muy buenas.
Okay.
Okay.
How's the house look? Did you kind of clean it?
Very little.
Fucking God, Bradley.
It's okay.
Okay, sounds great. I'll do it when I get home.
No, don't worry about it. I'll clean everything.
No, you're fine. I just, like, I know the house is, like, absolutely disgusting right now, and I just feel, like, bad and weird when, like, people are over and it's not, like, at least a little better than it is, you know what I mean?
As far as like we're all good. Like Cody.
I understand. Cody understands. It's just like a self, like.
I understand. I'm right there with you. But I'll see you in a little bit. I'll give you some money, and yeah.
Oh, you're fine. I have all the money from you from the 600 you gave me.
Wait. Oh, okay.
Yeah, remember the 600 cash?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember I told you it was only $13 and some change that was left over, and I was like, I got it. It's not a big deal.
Well, you're gonna get $14 on Venmo.
Oh my fucking God, Bradley.
I'll see you in a little bit, baby. We'll probably be wrapping up here soon.
It doesn't matter. Is Cody gonna help us move?
Yeah, Cody, you gonna help us move, bro?
You guys need help? I'm absolutely
Yeah,
down.
we do.
She said, "Fuck yeah, we do."
Okay, yeah, I'll help you guys out.
All right, right on.
Yeah, buy me pizza.
She said she'll buy you pizza.
Fuck yeah, I'm down. You don't have to do that, but I'm down to
So I actually drove Cody here. So eventually, yeah, I will be driving him back.
Okay, alright, yeah, that's fine. Let me go do this deposit crap, and we'll go from there.
All right, super dope. I'll see you in a little bit.
Alright, love you, thank you.
All right.
Cody, I said thank you.
Love you, baby. And Samantha says thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Bye.
Bye.
What were we talking about? Yeah.
Music. So you said you
Yeah,
had a guitar.
We always had guitars in the house, and like, oh man, I wanted to learn how to play the guitar for the stupidest reason. It was this girl I liked. She likes guys that can play guitar, and then like it stopped being about that, and I was just like, no, music is actually just really sick. And this was when I was like 14, 15, 16, somewhere around there. And yeah, like I'm a bit regretful that I haven't stuck with it as much, but I'm like we talked about it before, like I'm someone who likes so many different things that it's kind of hard to kind of keep on top of all of them.
Sure.
And I'm just a busy guy in general. Like,
No, I totally get that. I just kind of touched on the whole girls thing. I kind of had the same kind of
course.
concept. Not till high school though. So when I was a kid, when I first got the guitar at like 10, it was all about just being a rock. Like I just thought it was cool. Like playing the guitar was.
And then high school came around. I was like, I'm trying to
High
get
school come around, I was
laid.
like, suddenly I'm a huge fan of Coldplay. Like, like so then I remember there was this one chick that was in my class that was like such a good singer, and me and her would like practice like singing together. That's like the first person I ever harmonized with. So I'd play like piano and shit, and then like I'd be singing, she'd be singing the other melody, and I was just like, marry me. Like I was so obsessed with her at the time. She's such a sweetheart. I haven't talked to her in years, but she's such a sweetheart and a great singer.
Dude.
But yeah, that was like my first like real big.
Maybe this is a song.
Like, oh my god,
dude! If this was like a romance movie, you would need to go and find her, and then like you'll stumble on like in a music shop.
And then I just pull out the boombox, like, remember this song, babe? We sang it together.
You'll go into like a music shop or whatever. You'll start playing the piano. You'll sing the same song you guys sang together. And it's like, where have you been all my life?
Yeah, it's like La La Land.
Yeah.
Fucking Ryan Gosling, when he starts playing that song, Emma Stone just walks in, and he's just like, they look at each other, and that's how the movie ends. Spoiler alert.
No, like, I was super lucky just because I had all the stuff around, and,
yeah.
Like, so the girl at the time wasn't like, I started learning, and then I found out that it's just like, she likes guys that play guitar. Oh my god.
Yeah.
No, but
I'm just saying we've all been there. Yeah, we've all been there.
Young, stupid. Yeah. Still young and stupid. Not feeling so these days. I
don't necessarily have that view on music anymore. I'm just saying high school.
Word.
It's 100%. When you're in high school. Now
I said 100%. Yeah.
There you go.
We were giving
I'm pretty sure I've said you know what I mean like a billion times, so you're all good. You know what I mean?
So, yeah, I looked back at our last podcast, and I know you did too. Yeah. And of course, we're like picking our own performances or whatever you want to call them apart.
Yeah.
And dude, I said 100% like a million times. You said you
know what I mean?
Yeah, like
a fucking gajillion times. Yeah.
I know what you mean.
100%.
But that's one. It's been so long since I've ran a podcast, and I feel like this one has probably been even better than the one we originally did. Because
we're in person.
Yeah.
We can, like,
I know what you mean.
Interrupting each other all the time. Should have fucking brought it up. Now we're gonna be catching ourselves.
So,
but no, like we can catch ourselves like interrupting, or like I can go off of what you're saying better.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I kind of wanted to branch off a little bit from music and kind of circle into gaming.
100%.
95. But so you and I, we've played a lot of similar games over the years, like not one for one, because I don't know exactly what you played. Like, obviously you played Tony Hawk, you probably played SSX on tour or Tricky or whatever.
Tricky!
So, like, some of my earliest memories, like, one of the oldest games I remember is this old-ass WWE game on the Super Nintendo, maybe? Not sure. It was just a really old one. Like, I remember Street Fighter 2, like, I'm playing that a whole bunch. So, what were kind of, like, some of the more impactful titles you kind of grew up on?
Ooh. The earliest memory I have with a video game ever was a PlayStation 1, and it was the Neversoft Spider-Man game.
I played a lot of Crash Bandicoot.
I played a little bit of Crash. Well, I don't know if I brought this up. We talk so much on a daily basis. I never know what we've talked about. We've only done this is our second time, but I don't know if we talked about this on air or not. But I was introduced to gaming through those jam pack discs. I think I did bring this up on the last one.
Yeah.
So that was also another big thing that, like, my biggest introduction to just video gaming in general. I played Spyro on there. I played the Neversoft Spider-Man. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. And I think that's as far back as it goes as far as just the early... Like, it was definitely PS1. Because I don't even think the PS2 had come out at that point yet.
I definitely remember playing more demo discs on the PS2 than I did the one. I remember playing like Sly Cooper 3 in particular.
That's
like a whole bunch.
That's how I found Jack and Daxter was on the Jam Pack.
Yeah, I didn't...
Jam Pack, bro.
I didn't super get into Jack and Daxter like everyone else did. I think it's just I wasn't exposed to games. And a lot of my game taste was influenced by my older brothers because, you know, when... You have a certain trust where, like, yeah, my brother won't lead me astray from these great titles that he obviously knows nothing about. And, like, you know, I could say, like, oh, Final Fantasy VII. Like, I didn't play Final Fantasy VII back in the day. Like, a lot of people did, and that game impacted a lot of people in a very big way. But I would have brought that title to my brother. It's like, is this a good game? And then he'd be like, that game is for nerds.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that.
It's funny how you say that about your older brother, but how much older is your older brother than you?
So Garrett was born in 91.
Okay. You're talking about your oldest brother right now, though?
So kind of both, but mostly Garrett.
Okay, so he was 6 years older than you? You're 97 or 96?
97.
Okay.
And yeah, like I ended up playing a lot of sports games as a result. So I played like NFL Street 1, 2, 3, NBA Street. I played Slide Storm, Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah. I think the heart and soul of my gaming years were on the PS2.
I agree. I still believe that's one of the best
Xbox
consoles of all time.
Like that generation of like GameCube, original Xbox,
PS2.
So like Halo, Mario Sunshine, Smash,
Fucking good. Twisted Metal Black.
Twisted Metal, Jack and Daxter, Pro Skater. But your relationship with your brothers in video games was mine and my dad's, but my dad was significantly older than me, but not that significantly. We're almost exactly 20 years apart. Mm. So my dad was about 23, 24, my age now, when the PS2 was like when I was first playing video games. So, but that was the thing, is that the games he was playing, I couldn't play. So my dad at the time was really into Grand Theft Auto 3 because that was the big game at the time. So he would play extensively Grand Theft Auto 3, and then I'd be like, "Can I watch?" And he was like, "No, you're too little." Rightfully so. I mean, I was fucking 3 or 4. Mm. But he didn't play the same games that I could play, and he wasn't into skating or anything like that. So I would have to play those jam pack games, those demo discs, and he would see what games I played the most. Being a good dad, he wouldn't like watch over my shoulder, but he just noticed that I'm playing a lot of the same demos.
It's like, hey, I bought you this.
And he'd be like, yeah. And then
that's very cool.
My first video game, he was like, I got you that Jack and Daxter game. And I was like, oh, fuck. Like 5-year-old me was flipping shit.
That's very cool.
And then he got me the Spider-Man game. So he got me those. So that was like how I got into that. And then I remember the Tony Hawk games. My aunt, Lacey, was dating a guy. She was in high school at the time. She's not that much older than me. She was like 10 years older than me or something like that. So I was like 5 or 6. So she was like 15, 16. She was dating a guy around the same age as her, but he was like a total skater guy. And I was living with my aunt at the time when I was like 5. We were all living together at my grandparents' house while my parents were waiting for their house to be built. And he brought over a Tony Hawk game.
Nice. And
it was Underground, and I remember him playing it, and I was like, I am so fucking into this. Like, that was like my earliest memory of that. And then I found out like he was a skater and stuff like that, and I was like, I just thought that was so cool. I was like, that is so cool. Like, he dressed like how we dress now, like he was just that same exact kind of guy.
He dresses in Dragon Ball.
Oh, he had like the backwards hat, like the black t-shirt, and he had a skateboard, and he's like, I skate in front of the high school. Like, he was just a cool kid, so to speak. But he was cool to me because I was like, as a teenager, that's way cool. And he's playing this Tony Hawk game. I was like, this fucking game's sick. And then I asked for that, and then I pretty much from Underground on, I was like, I am a hardcore Tony Hawk fan. My parents got me a skateboard. Into skateboarding.
It's a little...
My parents never understood it, like I was saying.
But they supported it.
But they supported it.
That's very sick.
Which is the biggest thing for me as a kid.
There was definitely some trepidation on my side where it's just like, you can get hurt. But I'm just like, Garrett rides a dirt bike. What do you mean? He rides BMX.
Yeah.
Like,
my parents weren't worried about me getting hurt. They didn't give a shit. They're like, get hurt. I mean, they're like,
die.
That's how you fucking learn. I mean...
No, like, in all my history of skateboarding and everything, like, whatever I was doing, I've never broken a bone. I've never gotten that hurt.
Neither have I. I've never broken a bone. Yeah, which is a blessing in disguise.
Which I've definitely seen this man dropping on some sketchy business.
I know you remember the time I got really fucked up from skating. I was...
A little bit.
Telling you this story? No, I was telling my neighbor the story. Dustin. But I know you were there. We were at Burgess with Paxton, and Paxton got injured, but I got really injured because at Burgess, there was this, just to describe it, there was a square rail. It was about maybe a foot off the ground, and I tried board sliding it. And when I tried board sliding it, I was going forward, but when I went to go land, the board kind of disconnected from my feet and got to the ground before I did, if that makes sense. I know I'm kind of visually
I got you.
explaining it, but I'm trying to explain it for people who are just listening too. So the board came down, and then I came down after it. So my feet weren't still on the board when I was coming down onto the concrete. As I disconnected from the board mid-air, my left ankle turned inward, so I landed on a rolled ankle. You know how you roll your ankle sometimes?
Yep.
I landed like that.
Ah, man.
So when I landed like that, I fell forward, and then I hit my elbow on the concrete.
Oh, that's pretty good.
So I had to wrap up my arm and my leg, and that was the biggest injury. That was done for like a couple weeks after that. I don't think I didn't break anything, but like it was so fucking swollen. The tendon was so swollen, I couldn't fully extend my arm. Like it was just so swollen here.
Yeah.
And my ankle was so fucked. That was the worst injury I ever got with skating, which that sucked. It's kind of similar to what happened with Troy when he tried alling off that. It's the same thing where it's like you didn't have enough control with your feet and like momentum of the board to keep it completely under your feet the whole time. So you were like, I'm up here, and your board's like, well, you didn't pop me up high enough, so the board's down here, and then you're like, oh, I'm fucked. Like, you know what I mean? You're just kinda strangling in the air. You hippie jumping on accident?
Man, I remember like when I was first learning tricks, and then we all started going out together. Like I had so much trepidation around like the park at first because I just skated flat ground initially, but then I'm just like, skate parks are scary, and then like I just got over this hump where I'm just like, go and just die or something. I don't know. Just do it. If you die, whatever.
I think it took. I mean, I feel like I'm more naturally a vert type skater, so to speak, because I feel like if I actually spent more time in there, I could actually get pretty decent at just riding around. I feel more comfortable doing it. Like you were saying just a second ago that like I've dropped into some gnarly shit. It was gnarly the first couple times I've done it, but like eventually that fear has gone away and it just becomes natural for me. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't have done it unless I had a drink in me, to be honest with you.
Sometimes you just need that courage.
We would go out there, you, me, your older brother, Paxton, Troy, and we'd all, like that one day, I think that was the best day of skating I ever had, was that day that we skated for like 12 fucking hours.
Dude, I was out there for like 18.
Do you remember that day?
Yeah.
Though? It was literally like from the morning to nighttime. And we'd been drinking all day, just skating
I don't
around.
think Troy was out there.
Was he not? Was it just you, me, Paxton, and Garrett?
Yes, I believe so.
I know Paxton was there, because remember I laid down.
Yep.
And Paxton was jumping, and I think we filmed it too, right?
And then I think I jumped up over you.
I think you did, because I think I remember that, because I was just like, oh fuck, like looking at your board coming at my head.
So, yeah, like, damn, I forgot about that time, honestly.
That was my favorite time skating ever, because I remember that was also, I think, the same day where I was just like, there was that big, huge quarter at Burgess, and I was like, fuck it, and I dropped in on it and did it a couple times.
So, Garrett got out there pretty early, but I got out there even earlier than Garrett. Like, Garrett was out there probably like 13, 14, but I was out there for like 18 hours skating.
I was going to say, I think me and Paxton got out there at like 10 in the morning. You guys were out there earlier than that.
Yeah.
And we met you at Lazy 5. I think we went to 3 different parks.
You did not meet us at Lazy 5. There was the park.
Miguel Rivera? Is that where we went first?
No, it was this one place over by North McCarran. There's like a Walmart over there, and it's like kind of by the Walmart.
Oh, is it the spot that's hella windy?
Yes.
Every time we've gone up there, because it's the
We
elevation.
started there. We went to Burgess.
I thought we ended at Burgess. I thought we did 3 parks that day.
I think I could be wrong. We could have that place, Windy Place, Burgess, Lazy 5, Burgess.
I think you're right, actually. I think we decided to go back to Burgess because Lazy 5 is so full.
I think so. I could be wrong about that.
When we first got there, it wasn't that full, but then throughout, like, it was like 1 or 2 at that point.
Yeah, it was pretty packed.
And it got fucking slammed. We were like, we would have more room at Burgess, and we skated at Burgess for God knows how long. But we just I had so much energy that day. I don't know where it came from. We all were like, because all of us were like, are you guys tired? And we're like, no. Like, I could keep going. And we're like, let's just keep going. We literally went till it was dark. That's like one of the best skating sessions I've ever had. No one got hurt.
Weirdly enough, oh man, like I just got. Hey there, fella. How you doing? You clean the roads? Roads are clean. Yeah, weirdly enough, I just got like more and more like confident. Like I wanted to do like bigger jumps, like jump down things. Like I don't know. And the thing that annoyed me a little bit was like, I mean, it was cool to have someone doing it with you, but like I was just like, oh, doing this thing, and then Garrett's like, I want to do that too.
Yeah, I know.
I had my little
That might have
person.
been the session where Garrett was like, I'm gonna fucking boneless this thing, and he like had this monster.
I think that
boneless.
was, but I was trying to jump from, like, not the thing by the quarters, the bank by the quarters to flat.
Mm-hmm.
There were a couple times I landed in the quarter, but yeah, I was trying to do that to flat. I think I did it. I broke my board on that.
Yeah, you had a spare.
Yes, I did have a spare.
Yeah, I was gonna say you had a spare. I remember the gnarliest thing that I did at Lazy Five was that there was this big, like kind of like turtle back in the center, you know?
Yeah.
And then there's just that strip. I don't even know how to describe it, but it has like the little side rails that you can.
The coping?
Yeah, the coping, but it's like a square, kind of like just a long bench. But I would go up the top of it, start a manual all the way down that in the middle, which is a really thin like manual, and then ollie off that, which is pretty gnarly, especially because it's kind of an angle like this. So by the time you start getting halfway down, there's no stopping. If you jump off, it's not like you can jump to the side because it's like a drop somewhat, you know. So you had to commit once you started manually.
Once you were on there, yeah.
And jump off that. I think I did that day. That was pretty gnarly. And then I want to say I did a kickflip in a game of skate, which is a big deal for me because I am not like consistent with kickflips at all.
So I remember this one time, and when I think of skateboarding, I think of this from time to time, but it was me, you, Troy, Paxton, and do you remember the time where Paxton laid the barrel down over the thing in Burgess? The thing that we like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
remember this.
I was struggling with that, but I almost kickflipped over it before I
remember
ollied
this.
over it. And I
We
was
were
just
all
like,
like trying to like push you to do it because you were really close. Yeah, I remember
just
that.
like Paxton just like I was surprised at how like confident / competent Paxton was. I'm like, he would just like throw some shit and then like would just get it pretty quickly.
Paxton used to skate a lot when he was younger, so he has a lot of experience under his belt as far as that goes.
Yeah, I remember him trying to fake you varial heel. That was very cool.
He's humble, but he's actually pretty good at skating. Like he's been doing it for a while. He hasn't skated since he's gone skating with us. He's been really into rollerblading lately.
Right on.
Which is really cool, or I should say roller skating. He's not into rollerblading, but he's been really into roller skating, which is cool. But yeah, I would say out of like my group of friends growing up, Paxton was easily the best skater.
Word.
He would fucking destroy all of us.
He would. Yeah, he would. I would trade games with him, but the majority of the time he would win.
Like it was funny because like I was like the Steve-O of us when we played games.
Yeah, dude.
Where it's like, I'm gonna caveman off the top of this car, you guys copy it, and everyone's like, what kind of trick is that?
Right
And I'd be
on.
like, it's a trick. It's like, you gotta do it. And then be like, okay. And then Paxton would be like, okay, I'm actually gonna do a trick. He'd do a kickflip, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna jump off the roof of this house now.
I guess that was cool.
I'm like, I guess that's cool, but that's not cavemaning off of a fucking house.
So
That was the kind of shit I would do. I would just pull. I was creative, I guess, in that way. But Paxton was actually like, I can do fucking tricks at like even a younger age. So
yeah, I'm still surprised that like I'll even go out randomly and like still be somewhat competent just because I haven't been skating so much. And the whole conversation stemmed from video games, by the way.
oh, well, we were talking about Tony Hawk. So.
Yeah, but naturally. Well, yeah, and I said last time too, like I didn't even really get inspired to skate or learn tricks from Tony Hawk or EA Skate or anything like that. I was just watching a YouTube series, and this guy did this sick trick. I'm like, I want to do that. Still can't do it.
I mean, I think the skateboarding games. I was thinking about this after the last time we talked about it, but I think the skateboarding games did have an effect on me becoming a skater, so to speak. But I think a lot of it had to do with the skating videos you would watch in the game.
Word.
So I'd watch the pro videos of like all those guys, and you would see them actually skating. And I think that's what turned me on to it. I was like, that's fucking cool.
So, I
'Cause
mean,
clearly,
yeah,
Tony Hawk isn't realistic. I'm not fucking doing triple kickflip 360 into a grind, like, you know what I mean? It's more of like a combo kind of game.
I watched
Skate's more realistic.
So I mean, just recently, like, I'm still, like, very sparingly playing through Project 8, but still playing it. And, like, yeah, you'd have, like, the little segments with your sidekick that would come up and be like, oh, hey, watch this street footage of Rodney Mullen or Tony Hawk or whoever the fuck's in that game, Bam Margera.
All of the above, yeah.
And
basic Bob Burnquist.
And I still watch it. I'm like, man, this is very cool still.
Very cool.
And
Kareem Campbell. I mean, all those guys
Kareem
are really cool. What's that one guy that's like just as good as Rodney on freestyle?
Dude, I could not tell you.
Oh my God, not Arto. Sorry, that guy's good too. Oh man.
Well, if you think of it, let me know. But
keep going. I'm gonna look it up. But
by all means, something I've wanted to make a video on is obviously I love fighting games. That's quite apparent between my YouTube channel. For you got it?
Yeah, Day One Song.
Oh, Day One. Damn, I totally spaced that.
Day One Song, dude. That guy, way good.
So yeah, I wanted to make some like creative videos circling around fighting games because I'm very passionate for them. I think a lot of people should give them more of a chance. I think they're very fun, very sick.
Absolutely.
But I was just like, oh man, like people complain, like the same people that complain about learning combos in fighting games are like the same people that play Tony Hawk and do like ridiculous, like, yeah, I could get like 50k points.
See, that's the thing is like I was one of those people too until I like recently played Mortal Kombat 9, and then once I actually took the time to learn the combos, I was like, I think I could get into fighting games. I was like, I think this is something I could do. But the thing that's different is that between like a Tony Hawk game and something like Mortal Kombat or a fighting game with combos like that is that it's all about the timing of the person you're playing with a fight.
I agree.
The Tony Hawk game
is by yourself doing your own thing. There's no other
variable besides the environments. It's you versus the environment. So it's easier for you to look, like be in the middle of a combo and be like, all right, I see a rail over there. I'm going to jump, kick flip over to that, and then I'm going to manual over to this ramp. Like you just can map out a line easier.
I totally agree.
So it's not necessarily the combos that coming off and fighting. It's me trying to input the combo and this guy going "fuck you" and like.
It's definitely not the same, but it's a comparison like I wanted to draw, which like so that line of thinking led me to. We talked a little bit last time about like there's not enough reasons for like a beginner fighting game player to continue playing a fighting game like outside of playing that fighting game against a person. Like there's not enough reasons to stay at that game. So like with Tekken like has something a little stupid, but you can have some fun with it. It's Tekken Bowling. It's just a very stupid like mini game, but it's a reason to come to the game outside of playing someone online. And something I thought of from skateboarding, so a game of skate. It's just a game of horse. Someone does a trick, you do that same trick. If you do it, you don't get a letter. If you don't do it, you get a letter. So like if there could be some way to incorporate that into like fighting games. Are
you saying inputting combos and doing multiple combo chains, and like if you do the multiple combo chains, you got to follow that person and it's like fatality or something?
Yeah, I would love something like that. I think that'd be super sick. That
would be cool.
Very interesting way for someone to get. I mean, combos are one aspect of the game. There is just move knowledge. So like startup, how good it is on recovery, how quick it is, all that stuff. The spacing, knowing like where around what range you want to use this move, things like that. There's setups, mind games, all that stuff. But combos are definitely one aspect. You don't need the best combos, and there are games with very easy combos, i.e. Dragon Ball FighterZ. That was my big game, and I still play the shit out of that game.
Yeah, I know you're madly into that game.
I'm terribly in love. Yeah. But yeah, combos are one aspect, and it's naive to think that having someone enjoy fighting games is like, oh, let me teach you these combos. Combos are a fun part of the equation, especially when you're learning one and pull it off in a match. Like, that's very satisfying. Like, the dopamine just...
Oh, yeah, for sure. Especially when it's like a boom, 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 and it's just like a chain of combos, and you just get them all down, because I've done that before. And when you do that, and you're just like, fuck, that felt good.
Also, I'll show you some dope shit after we're done here.
Yeah, I'm totally down. Like I said, I remember playing through Mortal Kombat 9 pretty recently, and I had a blast with it. So
yeah, I like 11. It's not.
That's the one I haven't played. I've played 10, haven't beaten it yet. But
I think you'll have some fun. Like, dude, I go on Mortal Kombat 11 very randomly. Like, and I have like my goal as a fighting game player is to learn like one character in almost every fighting game. So that way, if anyone comes up to me and like, hey, I'm very interested in X game, Skullgirls, Killer Instinct, Mortal Kombat, you know, Marvel versus Capcom.
Dope game.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I have a team or a character I can play against them, and it's just like if someone wants to get into a fighting game, like fighting games are a niche genre. So finding someone that plays fighting games to like kind of train with you or practice with you is very hard, and it's just like, oh, hey, get online so we can practice. Having a training buddy in a fighting game is an absolutely fantastic way to keep you invested in them, because you're pushing each other, because you have that relationship with them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I definitely want to bring more love to the genre as a whole, because it's such an underappreciated genre. Like, people play fighting games when they're a kid. I played Street Fighter 2, a little bit Third Strike, and like everyone had that, like, yeah, I can mash on this game or whatever, and that's cool. A lot of for some, I mean, I know NRS is pretty popular as a whole, because like randomly you'll have people like, I love Mortal Kombat, or like, I love Street Fighter, and like that's awesome. Like, there is some kind of mainstream representation, but like I want to push that and accentuate that. There's like very few instances of content creators getting very, very big in the fighting game space, and yeah, I just want to share that. I want people
Why do you think that is?
They're so niche, just as a whole genre. Like,
really? Even with the like tournaments and shit that I see for like Mortal Kombat and whatnot?
Yeah, so popular. Mortal Kombat is like one of the bigger ones, just because of the name.
Like the competitive aspect of the game seems pretty poppin'.
But the biggest one, and it's debatable whether you consider this a fighting game or not, is Smash. It's low barrier to entry, high skill ceiling. That's just how the game is. Like, the characters are very inviting.
It's a simple concept everyone can understand, but it's hard to master.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah. 'Cause I love Smash.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. Like, I don't take it super seriously. It's not the type of game I like, just the same way Mortal Kombat isn't the type of game like I vibe with. I vibe with anime fighters. I just click with them.
Yeah, which is fair.
But I definitely...
You like sprite fighters, too? Like Street Fighter 2?
Essentially. Those are, like, close to anime fighters.
Okay.
I'll still get down on some Street Fighter 2 to this day.
Yeah, me too. Like Street Fighter 2. Sorry, not to...
No, you're good.
Lose your train of thought.
But I definitely want to push that. Like, I try to every so often wear, like, fighting game related stuff, or you don't want to be that friend that turns every conversation into fighting games, because not everyone likes fighting games.
That's me with music and Tool, dude. So
dude, I mean, that's fine. And, like, in a way, like, I was like that with fighting games and Dark Souls, but I'm just like, man, not that people, like, it's only you know until you know, like, how cool the space is. And it's very hard to get people to want to know, because, like, what's the way you can get someone to want to learn is piss them off by talking shit about how bad you are at the game. And like, for a lot of people, that's gonna like turn them away from the game entirely.
I don't think I'm that type of person that is just like, if you talk shit to me, I'm like, never fucking playing this game again. Like, that gets me more involved into it, I think, anyway. Makes me want to get better. But I don't know, like, I think fighting games are just a high skill, and I think the thing that that makes it niche, I guess, if you could say that, because I always thought fighting games were pretty damn popular, but
not as much as you think.
I always thought, I mean, they were popular with my friends growing up. I always remember seeing, like, going over to buddies' places, and they'd have like a small little tournament.
Yeah, but how much do you hear about it or see about it now?
Nowadays, not so much, so yeah, I'll say that. But I mean, I kind of went out of my way to watch the Mortal Kombat Championship, because I wanted to see how good people can get at those games. But I think a lot of it is because it's so intimate, if that makes sense.
It is very...
What I mean by that is that it's not so much... I mean, I guess you could say that about battle royales, but I feel like battle royales are more anonymous. So it's like the intimacy comes when you're in a firefight. So the moment you're in a firefight with someone, now it's go, 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 go. But you don't necessarily have that build-up going through a battle royale, because you're so focused on just getting yourself set. You're like, I need this, I need this, I need this. Okay, I've got guns, I'm ready to go.
And then just clocked in
and
the
then
head.
It's like, now you've got so many other objectives. It's not like the sole thing you're focusing on is like, how am I going to approach this fight? Because the variations to what could happen in a firefight are so out there, and there's so many variables to take into account, you can't predict the next firefight. The only thing you can predict is where the fucking circle's going to close. So you start running that way. But that's why I think that's what's so popular as far as that goes, is because it's just off the hip. Okay, I'm being shot at, I have a cover right here, you know what I mean? Like everything's spontaneous. A fighting game, which this is not a diss or burn, I'm just saying that this is how I look at it. A fighting game is you're going into the next round. Okay, this is what happened with round one. How am I going to approach this, and how am I going to counter that move if he tries that again? Like, what is his strategy that I can overcome? It's a lot of strategy that you're thinking in your head as far as your opponent. You're trying to understand your opponent. At least this is what I gathered from you and your videos, and just from watching people that play it professionally. It's very intimate in that way, where it's like you have to know your opponent in order to best your opponent.
So there's definitely that. When you get into certain levels of playing a fighting game, you develop an autopilot. So the things that always work, you're going to try first, and if they don't work, that's when you get out of your autopilot. So I don't know, let's just say a very easy, like, okay, I'm going to do like a medium punch, which goes like that, and then into a crouching heavy kick, which is a low. So, you know, that works most of the time. You do that, but they actually block the low afterwards. It's just like, oh, okay, like they're looking for this. Now let me mix it up. Let me go overhead and see if they respond to that. And then you start introducing these new, like more nuanced elements or new ideas. Like, okay, they expect me to follow up with my medium punch, with a crouching heavy. So now I'm gonna, instead of go for a medium punch, or instead of a crouching heavy, like I'm gonna medium punch and then I'm gonna jump and heavy kick in the air. So like that's when it gets like more nuanced. So that's when you get out of your autopilot. But a lot of it depends on the type of fighting game you play. Like it's much more easy to develop an autopilot than some. Like Dragon Ball FighterZ is very mashy initially. Yeah. And then you're like, oh well, I can just do this and punish you for mashing.
I think I'm just kind of thinking about it as we're talking about it. But a thing about fighting games that I think be another possibility of why it's niche now is because say something like Smash or a Battle Royale, for example. Both of those bottleneck their pressure. Meaning, as soon as you begin the game, you, like, take Smash, for example, you're probably playing with, like, 6 people, but eventually it bottlenecks to who's the last 2 alive with their lives. Or, you know what I mean? So the pressure just kind of comes to a head, essentially, and then the game's over. Whereas a traditional fighting game is more like a straw, where the pressure is consistent throughout the entire match. A match could go on as long as, like 3 rounds or 5 rounds, depending on the game. So the pressure is on from the moment you press start and you're playing your opponent. At least I see that from like a professional standpoint, where you like just your hands get sweaty, you're trying to fucking like focus, which is cool. But I think it makes it a little less accessible, because it's more dependent on, like I said, your opponent. Like there is I guess a bottlenecking with fighting games, but it's more of like matchmaking and just generic casual play against a random person. But once again, you never know. You never know if you're going to play yourself a 9-year-old or you're going to play yourself somebody who's been playing fucking fighting games forever, which I'm not saying this turns me off to it. I like fighting games. I'm getting more into them as I've been playing more of them. But I think that's what turns a lot of people off, is because they'll play and be like, I fucking stand no chance. And then they don't like the idea of having to go out of their way to get better at the game. As opposed to jumping into a battle royale and being like, okay, it starts here and it eventually gets there, but if I die here, it's like, okay, like I can bear with this area of the bottle, you know what I mean? The wider part, because that's easier for me to understand. And that makes it more intriguing to get to here, because once you start slowly but surely getting to the bottleneck point, then that's the dopamine hit. You're like, fuck, there's only 5 people left. The circle is like this big. We're all right around this.
There's a house and there's definitely someone there.
There's definitely 3 people there. The circle's the size of a fucking backyard. You know what I mean? So you're like, fuck. And that's where your heartbeat starts racing. But like once you get to that point, it's the dopamine. It's like a drug. It's like the dopamine hits, and you're like, "Fuck! I got 3rd place. Fucking play again." Like,
totally. So
that's, and I think the same thing goes for Smash, when it's like the last 2 opponents are on the map, and you're like, "Fuck! He's got like 100% damage, but I'm on my last life. Like,
I can't get a hit.
I just gotta knock this life out, and then we can fight. Like, and take no damage. Like."
So, I when I was playing a lot more Street Fighter than anything else, Well, I should talk a little bit about my first experiences with Street Fighter. I've definitely talked about this in YouTube videos before, but my first day of Street Fighter, and this was already like, me playing more than enough Dragon Ball Fighters. I played, I want to say 30 games that day. I won 2 games out of those 30 games that I played.
Damn.
I got fucked up for sure, but and all it took was me watching this person that was playing a character, not the same one as mine, but like kind of took somewhat of a similar approach. And like just looking at how they're moving, what they're using, I'm just like, it was like golf. It just makes sense now.
Okay, I see what you mean.
And so when I was playing Street Fighter, like I watched a content creator, Sajam, and he broke it down as like, you don't really have to learn the most advanced stuff to get started at a very beginner level. You don't have to learn the craziest combos or anything like that. So you need to know what your anti-air is. So an anti-air is if someone's jumping at you, like how do you stuff it? So like an uppercut looking move, you need to know like just a basic combo. You need to like just take a look at what your buttons do. So if you have a like medium kick, like look at how far it goes. What do you think it's good for? It's like, oh, okay, medium kick goes out this far. It's probably good for like keeping space or something like that. But I think on that note, we might have to come for a part 3 of our podcast because
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's where we're gonna have to cut it this time around.
Yeah, I'm
but
down,
thank
man.
you so much for joining me.
Of course,
I
bro.
appreciate
Of course.
it.
Yeah, blast. Yeah, we could talk for hours, so we have to stop it at some point.
All the stuff that was in the description last time will be in the description this time. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys want to see more, check out the rest of the channel in the description. There's links to not just my channel, but my friends' channels as well, i.e. Cody. And yeah, I will see you guys later. Peace. Samantha just got here.
Yeah, no, that's totally chill, bro.
Yeah, almost 3 hours by the way.